I'm Danny Johnson, CEO at TPP, The Positive Porpoise.
I'm Jason Miller from Fins Up SoCal Fan Club.
I'm Scott Howell from Atlanta Dolphin Club.
Mark Angelo, NorCal Dolphin Club.
And you're listening to Clock Blockers, Miami fans' #1 morning show.
Run it, 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 run it.
What is up? What is up? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Stephen D. What's going on? Happy Wednesday to my Fin-Laws and my Fins family. Just want to say good morning to y'all. How y'all doing this morning? Got a big show lined up for y'all today. A humongous show. But I know what y'all are waiting for. And we'll have it today. We'll have a panel today, people. Don't you even worry about it. What's going on? How's everybody doing? Just want to say good morning to everybody in the chat so far this morning. Let me do that real quick because I haven't done that in a while. Before I get to all the housekeeping stuff, who's in the chat this morning? We got Chef Zhu in the building. Good morning, Chef Zhu. What's up? 1, 2, 3, 4. Epps. That's an O. Shake Money. Jose Valdez. Green Rat. Who else we got up in here this morning? Die Hard Dolphin. What's up, Die Hard Dolphin? Hermes Gonzalez. Hermes. Who else I got up in here? Chase One. What's up? What's up? Danny Johnson, TPP. You down with TPP? Yeah, you know me. You down with TPP? What up, Danny Johnson? It's cold in Alabama this morning? Huh? It's cold? Let's see here. We got Alexander Diaz. Manalo. What's up, Manalo? Who else we got up in here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Roaches. Yes, there's a seat at the table waiting for you. Are you kidding me? Of course there is. Go into the description. You'll see a link. And I want you to click that link that says sign up to become a member. And there are plenty of seats at the table for you. Matter of fact, here it is in the chat. That's for you, Roaches. That's for you, 1, 2, 3, 4. Roaches. Sign up. Become a member today. I'd love to see you on the become a part of the family. Who else I got up in here? I got Lance McDonald in here this morning. Who else? I think that might be it. Level 2 noobs in the building. Knicks still suck, just so everybody knows. Who else we got? Von 954. Von 954 is in the building this morning. I like it. Roadrunner. What up, Roadrunner? Palmer Kevin. Good morning. Good morning. Cruz Ruiz. Are pants required? For what, the morning show? Pants aren't required. You don't need pants for the morning show. You just need a cup of tea or whatever, cup of coffee. That's it. That's all you need. Shout out to TPP in NorCal. Chef Shu says, EM Dolphin is in the building. It's official when EM Dolphin is in here. Scummy, what's up, Scummy? All right, I think that's it. Gene Almighty. Miami Heat plays tonight. Yes, they do. All right, let me get to the housekeeping stuff while y'all are in the chat. I just wanted to say hello to y'all. I miss y'all. Love y'all. Hey, real quick, did y'all watch last night's show? Did y'all see the Miami Sports Music Power Hour? Did y'all see Solo D? That's right, Solo D was on it last night. That's right, we talked about that turnover chain. Talked a lot. Talked about a whole bunch of different stuff. But it was awesome. Jamie Bahamas, Cameron, myself. If you missed last night's show, the Miami Sports Music Power Hour, you're missing out on life. Go back and rewatch it after the show this morning. Okay. Also, hey, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button. Hit the like button. See how look that red thumbs up and my thumbs up. God, they look very similar. Just hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Become part of the membership today. Sign up. Would love to see you become part of the family. Okay, sign up, become a member. If you want to donate to the channel, help the channel grow, there's a lot of different things we're doing, and we definitely need your help doing it. So I want to give a big shout out to anybody who donates today. All right, donate. You can do it one of three ways. You can use the YouTube live super chat, which is $sign down at the bottom of the chat. You can use PayPal, which is MSM Podcast Network. You can use Cash App, which is $sign MSM Podcast Network. And you can do any one of those three ways. If you go into the description below, it's got the links to PayPal and Cash App. Would love to see all your donations through there. Let's see here. Give a big shout out to our sponsor, Tail Greeter. Tail Greeter, big shout out to them. They are going to be a part of a lot of things moving forward. So I want to give a big shout out to Tail Greeter and Nick and that whole team there. We got a lot of cool things coming up in 2022 for y'all, and Tail Greeter is going to be a big part of that along with Miami Sports Music. So be on the lookout. Download the app today and go to social media. Follow Tail Greeter on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and tell them that Miami Sports Music sent you. Let them know that you found out about Tail Greeter through Miami Sports Music. They want to know. Can't do it without your help. So make sure you guys check that out. Want to remind you all, tonight, the Fins Tailgate Show, starting at 10 p.m. El Capitan. Chris. Make sure y'all check out tonight's show. Raw, uncut, unfiltered. Make sure you guys check out tonight's show. Also, Friday night, I want to remind you all, too, covering the spread, same time, 10 p.m., with the same group of guys, the Fins Tailgate crew. So make sure you guys check out tonight's show Wednesday, and obviously Friday's show covering the spread, sports gambling, fantasy sports, all of it on Friday night. Make sure you guys check out those two shows. Got a big show lined up for y'all today. Why? Well, let me tell you why. Number one, we got my man in his very first reoccurring segment, Xavier Scruggs, back-to-back, a baseball segment, will be coming on at 9:30, my man. This will be a regular segment every 2 weeks with us. Super excited to have Xavier Scruggs join the Miami Sports Music family and become part of this. And then a little after 10 o'clock, we're going to have David Dwork come on for a Panthers update. So I'm looking forward to both of those things because the Panthers, obviously, they are winning big. And there's just a lot to talk about. And then after those two things, we're going to have the best thing in the world. We're going to have Mortal Kombat Wednesdays. So sit tight. Don't go anywhere. Let's have a lot of fun because there's a lot of big stories that obviously broke out for Major League Baseball over the last few days. And I obviously, want to be able to talk about them among a lot of other things. So I am super excited that y'all are here. Keep on hitting that like button. Let people know you guys are coming in. Epps, I love you, bro. Let's see here. What else? 1, 2, 3, 4 roaches. Are you going to become part of the family? Sign up. And we'll talk, obviously, about any breaking news that happens if it breaks. I know we got a lot of stuff going on, but I am super excited about it. So make sure you guys go on Twitter, share everything. Yeah, man, we're going to be talking a lot today. So first things first. Let me just get the Miami Heat out the way because, yeah, they play the New York Knicks tonight. They play the Knicks tonight. And I know I have a lot of Knicks fans that watch, and I know I have a lot of Heat fans that watch. But, bruh, tonight's going to be the game. Not because the Knicks are good. Knicks suck, just so y'all know. But I am going to have fun trolling y'all on Twitter tonight. So, Knicks at Miami Heat in Miami, 7:30 p.m. I mean, you know what? Why don't y'all put in the chat box who y'all think's going to win tonight and what a score prediction are going to be. Level 2 Noob said, Heat suck, Knicks suck, lots of sucking tonight. Level 2 Noob, don't be a hater. Don't be a hater. It's going to be a massacre. It sure is. Alexander says, let's go, Knicks. Oh, my God. Yeah, whatever. Let's see here. Like a child fighting a grown man. 1, 2, 3, 4. Heat win by 20, Shake Money said. I like that. I don't know if it'll be that big. Chase One says Heat with the W. I think it'll be a good game. And good by mean the Heat are just going to kill the Knicks. Let's go Heat. All I know is that my Heat are going to win. Let me look at the standings. Right now, the Heat are number 1 in the Eastern Conference. They're 30-17. They're 30-17. And where are the Knicks? Oh, the Knicks are in 11th place at 23-25. I'm just saying. What are y'all Knicks going to do today? I don't think y'all going to do much. It's going to be a massacre. It's going down for real. I'm just saying. It's going down for real. For real. All right. Yeah, so let's kind of, get started into having my man come on here. So it kind of worked out great that Xavier decided to come on every 2 weeks. We've been, talking about this for a couple of weeks now, having Xavier Scruggs be a regular on every couple of weeks. And then yesterday, the MLB Major League Baseball Hall of Fame voting came out and was announced. And obviously, there's a lot of things to talk about that because, I want to give a big shout out to Big Papi for getting in, but there were a lot of people that didn't get in. Those names, including are Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Roger Clemens. I don't understand why these guys are not getting in. I understand it. I get why. But it's ridiculous at this point. It's absolutely ridiculous at this point. It's unacceptable. You can't treat people this way. As 1, 2, 3, 4 Fs would say. I don't understand it, and we're going to talk about that with Xavier here in a couple of minutes. Look, here's the thing about Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball, I don't want to, I want to wait for him to get on because it's such a very different, unique perspective, the way that we talk about voting, and you have all these old writers in, and that's how they kind of vote. And I don't think that, I don't think these old school writers have a pulse of what the game is today and everything. And I know that there's some people, but you know what? Big Papi was caught with performance enhancing drugs too and still got in. So it's like having different rules for different people. And I just don't get it. I feel like if you were nice to the writers, you are more likely to get in. If you were an a-hole to the writers, you weren't getting in. So what does that say about anything? Yeah, but it was never proven. He has positive tests for PEDs. What do you mean it was never proven? Look, here's the thing. Fox Sports tweeted out, baseball fans are mad as hell tonight because the writers, the BBWAA, we got it wrong, Rob Parker said, on Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens not being voted in the Hall of Fame on their final ballot. And then Gary Sheffield Jr. said Major League Baseball should start their own Hall of Fame, players only vote. I don't know about all that, but I think it deserves to be said that there needs to be a new voting process on how people get into the Hall of Fame because these writers aren't cutting it. They're not. So, look, I am super excited about being able to talk baseball with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Xavier. Xavier should be coming on any minute, which I am super excited about. So that should be a lot of fun. And there's just a lot of different things to talk about, right? Like, what can baseball do to change it around? What can they do to move things into place? My kids are 6 and 8 years old. Well, about to be 8. My son's about to be 8. And the difference between my kids watching a football game and a kids watching a baseball game are two different things. Night and day. My kids aren't sitting watching a 4-hour, 3-hour baseball game. But also the younger generation, young generation in their, below 30, let's say 18 to 30. When Major League Baseball makes decisions like this, I think it turns people away from the game too. In my opinion, from 1980s to the early 2000s, you can't say who did and who did not use steroids. You just can't. Not every single person. So because of that, it was part of the game. Baseball knew what they had going on. They need to be able to put players like Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds in. I don't know Barry at all. Never met the guy. I've heard a lot of negative things, but I've never met the guy. So it's something to be said when I come in and say, hey, look, what is he going to do from the standpoint of, it's not like he can go out and campaign for himself. What is he going to say? So it'll be very interesting to see. So without further ado, I am super excited for this new segment here at Miami Sports Music. So let's get the ball rolling. Let's go. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My man Xavier Scruggs is in the building. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? Hey, appreciate you getting me on here. This is fun, man. I'm glad we got this going, man. Back to back,
the newest segment here on Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers. My man Xavier Scruggs is in the building. Before we get started on anything, it's been a while since you've been on the program. How you been, man? What's going on?
Oh man, I've been good. I can't complain. Just trying to keep up with these 3 kids over here. The 2 boys. I got a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. They keep me busy running around. But it's good. It's good. I'm enjoying it. Look, I can't hope for anything better than them to be wanting to run around, and be energetic, because that's what I love, and that's what I did when I was young. So I love it.
Man, they keep you busy, man. I have 2, so I get it, man. And I can, what happens when you have 3, though, right? The inmates outnumber the guards.
Man, so you're not lying, man. You're not lying. It's crazy.
All right, what else is crazy? Baseball over the last few weeks, taking over the sports world, heck, in the last 24, 48 hours. There's good things and there's bad things to it, but I think anytime the sports world is talking baseball is always a good thing, even if it's controversial. So before we get into lockout talk, let's talk about the hot topic right now, and that is Major League Baseball Hall of Fame voting that came out yesterday. Let's give props where props are due. David Ortiz gets elected. Tell me what you think about David Ortiz getting elected to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think it's well deserved. I mean, you look at what he did throughout the course of his career, not just during the regular season, but such a postseason impactful player. I think that says a lot about the type of player that he was for Boston. And you got to think about it too. Like his career started out a little mediocre in Minnesota, but then being able to make that transition and being an impactful player, but then also being an ambassador for the game. The numbers speak for themselves, but he's such a bigger personality that really deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I look at, obviously there's a lot of guys that were on the ballot that had an opportunity as far as numbers go. But yeah, I think he deserved it. I think, you're going to get some guys that feel a certain way, some voters that feel a certain way, some supporters of the game that feel a certain way with his name being associated with some testing that went on during 2003 that was, that really wasn't supposed to go out to the public. So everybody's going to have their opinion, but I'm happy for David Ortiz and well deserved.
307 votes with 77% of the vote. Believe it or not, the next person on the list was Barry Bonds. he got 260 votes for 66%. His final year on the ballot. Roger Clemens, 257 votes with 65%, 5 years on the ballot, final year on the ballot. And Kurt Schilling with 231 votes, 58% of the vote, and his final year on the ballot. Bonds, Clemens, and Schilling. It is so interesting to see that our all-time home runs leader, our all-time, I think, wins, or I know Roger Clemens is up there, but to not see these guys in the Hall of Fame, I think, is a travesty in itself. I don't know where you stand on this as a former player, because if you look at it, this is what I say. Let me kind of state where I'm at. From the 1980s to the early 2000s, there's no way to go back and say which players did or did not use performance-enhancing drugs or steroids, right? And so with that being said, I personally believe, as an outsider looking in, that it was part of the game. In 1994, baseball had a Major League Baseball strike. It was in its worst. It didn't look good. Things did not look good for Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
4 years later, they're interrupting live news broadcasts to show you at-bats of Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, who, in my opinion, single-handedly that summer saved baseball. So I don't understand the hypocrisy from the writers not voting these guys in, no matter if they were great guys, off the field or not.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about all this?
It's disappointing, honestly, to me. And yes, I'm weary of the association with PEDs. I understand that everybody has different opinions, but I'm on the side of understanding that the Hall of Fame should represent every era within the game's best. Yep. And I look at those guys as being representatives of the best players during that time. And I also understand that, as much as steroids might have been illegal at the time, that was also something that hadn't been implemented as far as rules go within the Major League Baseball. There was no testing specifically in place during that time. So I feel like if that's the case, anybody could have been popped for any sort of over-the-counter, could have been a performance-enhancing drug. We don't know what it could have been. I think since there's no definite line there until 2004, I feel like those guys should not be penalized. And that's just my opinion on it. I feel like you have to represent our game and like you said, like the home runs leader, the ERA lead, like those types of things need to be represented within the game. And it's unfortunate that they won't be during this time, but hopefully they have an opportunity with the today's committee, voting committee, to be able to vote them in.
Clap Blockers, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show with its brand new baseball segment, back to back with my man Xavier Scruggs. Xavier, let me kind of come at it from a different way. So now the baseball writers have 10 years to vote these guys in, and that's how they originally get in. Does there need to be a new process in how we vote players into the Hall of Fame? Because there's the mindset from the younger generation that these guys have no clue. They're not involved in the day-to-day process on how we do things anymore. We live in a world now where, are the writers really the ones that understand the game the best, that they should be voting who gets into the Hall of Fame? Because we live in a digital era now. We live in a digital world. So what does that say to the average young fan who says, why are the writers the ones that are making the choices here and not former players, people who currently cover the game from a media standpoint, like digital wise? Like, why are the writers still the people? And I don't know if you have the answer for that, but I'd just like to get your take on that.
Yeah, no, I think that there's definitely ways that you can implement, other people to be associated with the voting, to have those opportunities. It started with the baseball writers, right? So it's kind of their thing. And it's something that they've done pretty well for a long period of time until you kind of get to this period in which there's so much gray area. But ultimately, that's voting, right? That's voting for whatever you're trying to vote for, whether that be something with politics, whether that be voting over a team that you like over a different team, whatever it may be. Everybody's going to have different opinions. Everybody comes from different backgrounds, different environments. When you talk about the character clause, like everybody's going to have different feelings on that. But ultimately, that's voting. And no matter how you change the system, there's always going to be something wrong with it. that somebody is always going to have something wrong with it. But we have to remember that they've done this thing right for a long period of time. They've created some ways to where some guys that haven't been able to get in. I'm supposed to talk to Lee Smith today, the one of the best relievers in all of baseball ever, right? And I'll talk to him today, and he was a guy that for 15 straight years, for a while, it was 15 years that you were able to stay on the ballot. He got passed up and then was able to be voted in by the today's committee. So you look at, it's never going to be 100% right. And I mean, there's always going to be some things that we can say we can do to it, but ultimately there's always going to be something wrong with the system.
Is there an asterisk by getting voted in on today's committee compared to the Briders? Like, do you think that people look at that differently?
I don't think so. I look at it as, an opportunity for kind of what you mentioned, like some people that maybe more focused on today's era of the game, that understand more of today's analytics, maybe understand today's data a little bit more. And they get to dive in on some guys' numbers that may have been overlooked at a time. So I don't feel like that's necessarily the case. And also we're evaluating players differently nowadays. So I mentioned Lee Smith as a reliever. Like, a lot of people don't know how to evaluate a reliever when it comes to the Hall of Fame. The same thing now for a DH, right? There was a lot of talk about which DHs deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. They don't play a defensive position. So the way we evaluate the game and players is different nowadays. It is different and evolves.
All right, let's kind of transition out of the MLB voting, because I think it's a very controversial topic to begin with. But baseball has its own current problems in itself, as they are in the middle of a lockout. And I know this isn't necessarily the thing we want to speak on January 26th, when pitchers and catchers are going to be reporting, or supposed to be reporting here in 14 days?
Yeah.
Some in a few days. I know the MLBPA and the MLB have been meeting for the last couple of days, a couple times. We've gotten a little bit of progress, but nothing major, and nothing looks to be on the horizon, from my opinion. What have you heard, and what are the things that are like keeping these two sides apart right now?
Yeah, I think, there has been progress, right? Now that they're actually meeting, they've met consecutive days in a row. That's always something positive. There's been momentum moving towards the players coming off of some of the requests that they've had when it comes to revenue sharing, when it comes to free agency. They've come off of those, which were some bigger things that they seem to be looking for. Now we're getting a better idea of the Players Association priorities. And I think that was one of the biggest questions from the owners from the beginning, was what is it that's the biggest priority for you? Because you're throwing out a lot of things, which is understandable because they feel like they lost in the last CBA. So they're trying to gain everything back in one sense, but in one swoop. But you can't do that within the game. You can't make major changes all of a sudden within the way the game is handled. And so now you look at there being some momentum. You look at some of the bigger issues now. How are we going to pay some of the younger players? The owners understand that the younger players now dominate the game, right? There's a lot of value in how we place younger players as a product on the field. So minimum salary needs to go up. There needs to be something done for arbitration, as far as when it takes some players to get to arbitration. And ultimately, the biggest thing for the players is the competitiveness on the field. They don't want to see some of these teams feel like they have to tank or feel like they have to lose for 3 or 4 years before they can finally put a productive team on the field. So I think we're starting to make those decisions in the right directions as far as the CBA agreement goes. But who's to say how long that's going to take?
Raise the minimum salary to $615,000 for players with a 0 to 1 year service time. The league previously offered $600,000. The minimum salary was $570 in 2021, and the Major League Baseball Players Association is seeking $775,000. Major League Baseball did not change its proposal set for $650,000 for players with 1 to 2 year service time. Let's talk about service time, because I think service time is something that I think is a big thing. I live in Baltimore, so seeing somebody like Cedric Mullins not get on a roster for those first couple of years because the Orioles they didn't want to start his service clock time. but that man deserved to be on an opening day roster, 3 years ago, right? And same idea, for, the Miami Marlins. They have had players that deserve to be on an opening day roster, but because if they just wait out 2 months, their service clock's not going to start.
Right.
Explain to people, to the average fan, how that kind of works and where the two sides are disagreeing on that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, from a player's perspective, you look at what you just said, right? Some of the best product in an organization is being held back because they don't want to start their service clock. And that service clock, once that's started, that's, days counted up until players can really start getting paid. So teams don't want to start that clock necessarily, especially if they're a team that doesn't see themselves winning in the near future. So you mentioned the Orioles. You think back and when Chris Bryant was originally a minor leaguer that was available to be on the big league roster, and they held him back as far as service time manipulation.
Yeah, that was the Cubs.
Yeah, with the Cubs. Yeah, so there's a lot of
Orioles did the same thing with Machado too. Machado,
yeah. So it happens to a lot of the better players that, maybe their time clock, they don't want to start yet because they understand this player is going to get to free agency pretty quick. And that's the less time that we can have with this player, as well as arbitration. Once they hit arbitration, that's more money. They can start to make more money out of the team's pocket, the owner's pocket. So the manipulation within that is what the players are disappointed about, not just because not wanting to pay the players, but also you're still not getting the best product on the field for some of these teams. And that's what we talk about when we're talking about competitiveness. Fans want the best product on the field, players want the best product on the field, and the owners should want that for their teams. So that's the disappointment from the player standpoint. From the owner standpoint, it's, hey, these are our players. We decide who we want to have play at a certain time. We're the ones that have the clock for them, right? If we decide that they're not ready, they're not ready. But I think they also understand that the younger player is becoming more valued now. So there has to be some sort of change when it comes to how you're able to compensate the younger players that are impacting the game at a high level.
One of the things that I don't believe is being discussed enough in this Players Association and the contract negotiations between the MLBPA and MLB is how players are marketed. One of the things that I absolutely love about you and how you're going about promoting the game of baseball is social media, being able to have a face that, I can put, if I literally right now went to my son and said, here's a picture of 5 people. And in the 5, there's Mike Trout, there's Tua Tagovailoa, there's, Dan Marino, there's my son would have no idea who Mike Trout is. Would have no idea who Mike Trout is, who's the best, arguably the best player in the game. How do we move forward for I love baseball, but I'm scared for baseball. I'm petrified for baseball right now because I want to see them make the right decisions when it comes to marketing and promoting the game. Having games on YouTube is great, but look at what ESPN just did with the Manning cast, and where sports are being marketed now, and where Amazon is trying to get the NFL's, ticket package, and people like Al Michaels and, Joe Buck. I mean, they're starting to become obsolete when I would rather listen to Xavier Scruggs for 2.5 hours on a broadcast. Just me personally. Okay. So what are your thoughts about the marketing of the game moving forward? And why isn't that being discussed more in the labor disputes? Because I really think players want to be able to market themselves more.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you. It needs to be something done. But I think it's something ultimately from both sides, right? And I think that's a perfectly way to put it. It should be something being discussed because there's a lot of money within that. When it comes down to it, I look at MLB as just almost being a step behind some of these other sports when it comes to, being able to really utilize these platforms, these social platforms, these other opportunities that we see arising. And I want to say maybe because it's been such a pastime within our history as baseball kind of being one way and being one of those sports that, hey, maybe we don't need to highlight specific players necessarily all the time. But I think that's a way of the past, right? Like, we understand how important storytelling is. I think it's got to be something that's done on all levels, on all platforms. And I think it needs to be initiatives from the players as well to be able to kind of create their own wave. If MLB is not going to be able to do what you expect them to do or what you want them to do, you have to keep searching out ways and discovering ways to do that within your own as well.
But players are scared to get blackballed. And I hate to bring his name up because of all the off the field issues that are going on with him. But Trevor Bauer is a prime example. Trevor Bauer created his own, niche within the YouTube community, started doing his own thing, and Major League Baseball, from the outside looking in, wanted nothing to do with that. Now, I know he's a very controversial figure, but I think he's a prime example of what we're talking about here.
I think Major League Baseball wouldn't have a problem with that if it was somebody that, was more focused on positivity, promoting the game, and in a sense not having to feel like they have to down talk MLB, down talk the owners, down talk the social aspects of MLB, because I think you can do all those things without being like detrimental towards, like negativity towards those things. And I think that's kind of the bigger issue with MLB is, hey, like, we want, like, if you talk to MLB social, if you talk to MLB marketing, all of that, and which I do, constant communication, they want all of those things for players to do that stuff. They just don't, they want it done in a positive manner, right? They don't want you talking badly about the league. And the same goes for every other sport, right? You wouldn't want something like that. So I think that's something that's definitely being more encouraged. But I think at the same time, baseball has had such a kind of older mentality about itself. But I think we're seeing like a new wave of players and a younger generation that aren't afraid to speak out, aren't afraid to do some certain things. And I think we'll start to catch up here.
I really appreciate you saying that, because I think that's something that's not being said enough, that baseball wants to encourage this more, but they want to do it in a way that makes sense for them to improve the positive manner in which the game they want represented out to the public. And right. I think a part of that is, allowing people like John Boy Media, who I absolutely love, doing stuff, right? Allowing people like yourself to be able to do highlights. And by the way, if you guys aren't following my man's TikTok, what are you doing with your life? Because your TikTok is fire, bro. And I really mean that, because you're able to do, let me do top 5, people charging the mound is one that you just had, which I love. If more people or Major League Baseball got behind that more, I'm telling you, I think it'd be huge to a younger generation who, this is what they're doing. They're just flipping through the phone. So they want content quick, and they want good content. And yeah. I would sit for 2 minutes and watch the top 5 people you don't charge the amount to.
Right.
And I'm more than a casual fan, but I think the casual fan likes that stuff.
Right.
So
right.
I felt like it needs to be said from there. And I also, if Major League Baseball is listening, I think another thing they just need to do is get more involved with allowing people that represent the game like yourself to do more stuff within the game. The YouTube channels, doing games on YouTube, doing game on Twitch. I know you've done stuff with both of those things, and I just think it's a big thing in helping the game move forward. And I think you agree with me.
Yeah, no, definitely. All the opportunities that I seek are going in those types of lanes, right? How to present the game in a positive manner on platforms that we don't necessarily always get to use, right? And I think that's something that's eye-opening for Major League Baseball itself. I think they have to look around and see, okay, what are some of these other sports doing that we're not doing? And I think what you mentioned is one of the biggest things is look at some of these other creators within these lanes, look at some of these other people using these platforms, and promote them, because that's going to be one of the best ways that you can continue to get eyes on the sport.
100%. All right. So I'm going to ask you some questions. I don't know if you can give me the answers to. Have you found out like what the deal is for opening day? Are you covering a game? Do you know where you're at? I want to know these things, because that tells me, hey, ESPN is like moving forward with, how they think opening day is going to happen. So
yeah.
What's the deal with you?
Yeah, no, a lot of stuff is up in the air right now, and I wish I could.
That's not what I wanted to hear, Xavier.
I know. Hopefully, I can have a better update for you next time I jump on here. But A lot of stuff up in the air, but all good things, right? There's opportunities with ESPN, MLB Network. I live here in Tampa, opportunities with the Rays. I work with the Cardinals. So I think a lot of it is going to be dependent upon kind of what happens with this lockout, to be honest with you. So I'm kind of just hoping to hear as much as you are right now.
We're in the same boat, because all I really want to hear is, hey, the two sides have come to an agreement. Let me ask you, let me just get back on the subject real quick, because there was an article that came out from an independent third-party source, which I don't normally like to talk about those things, but they're like, Major League Baseball is okay with delaying the start of opening day. That's absurd, right? Like reading something like that. They don't want to delay that, do they?
No, they don't want that. I think you have to remember that every side, whether it be the owners or the players, they want to try to use something within a conversation, within a document, something that they can put out to the public and be able to use as a sense of, hey, we're willing to get started, but maybe these guys aren't willing to get started. So there was words that might have been taken out of context. At least the owners, the two guys that were in the room, I cannot remember the names. I know one of them was the Rockies owner, but they mentioned words had been taken out of context, and I'm sure that's both sides. Neither side really wants that, right?
I hope that you're right, and I hope that in a couple of weeks we're talking about pitchers and catchers reporting, and we're talking about the moves the Miami Marlins are going to make to compete in the NL East, because let me tell you, man, the Mets, the Phillies, the Braves, the defending, like, tell me that's not the toughest division in baseball right now.
It's going to be a strong division, man. It's going to be extremely strong. I still think the NL East the AL East is going to be strong as well, but the NL
minus
East
the Orioles.
Yeah, minus the Orioles. But you got some tough teams there in that NL East. All will be battling, beating up on each other. I don't think one necessarily separates themselves from the pack. So I think every team there, maybe besides the Nationals, really has an opportunity to come out of that division.
Real quick, I saw one of your videos talking about the wall changes to Camden Yards and how you think that's a bad thing for the game. Just give me a brief rundown on why you think that's a bad thing for the game.
I just like more homers, man. I just like, whether it be for the Orioles or whether it be for a team coming in to play the Orioles, I want to see more homers being hit. And I understand that, every team is different, every stadium is different, but I also like the idea of if a stadium has been a certain way and it's been, that's kind of like marks that stadium, right? It doesn't necessarily always have to change. I think that's what's kind of cool about Wrigley. That's what's cool about Boston. It gives it that old school feel. So I just like the homer aspect, man. If guys want to pull it to left, right-handers pull it to left, or if guys want to go oppo, the lefties want to go oppo, man, let them do so.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, but as a GM, if I'm the GM and I'm trying to get pitchers to come here and the pitchers are telling me there's no way I'm coming to the Camden Yards so my ERA can go up. And I feel like that's ultimately what led to the decision, is so that they could bring on more pitchers, free agent pitchers.
No, there's probably a lot of data and analytics behind the idea of, it being more beneficial for them to do so for their own team, especially in that AL East, right, where there's so many right-handed dominant power hitters. It makes a lot of sense. So I just don't like it because I want to see the homers as a fan, right?
Yeah, 100%. And real quick, my last thing I just want to briefly talk to you about is my favorite manager in all of baseball is managing again with the New York Mets and Buck Showalter. What are your thoughts about Buck managing the Mets, and how is that going to be for the NL East and the Mets moving forward?
I mean, I love that. I think one of the biggest thing with the Mets is like they need a clubhouse culture type of change, right, within the organization. I think he's the best person to come in. He's not going to have any games. He's so defined with details. I talked to Adam Jones. I mean, like this, he has such high praise for a guy like Buck Showalter, because when you see a manager like that has such an extreme eye for the details of the game, it makes you level up as a player. And that's what AJ mentioned to me. And I think those things really start to change an idea of what a culture looks like within an organization once you're able to have somebody at the head, at the lead, setting the right example. So that's what the Mets need ultimately.
Xavier, man, number one, thank you for coming on. I'm super excited. Every 2 weeks, you're going to come on. I'm going to call it. I'm just going to call it right now, the best segment in all of baseball on any show anywhere. Back to back, Stephen D, Xavier Scruggs. Tell people where they can find all your stuff because your social media needs to get more love. And I want everybody who's watching right now to listen very closely about Xavier's social media. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, man. Xavier_Scruggs, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Xavier Scruggs. So pretty simple. Go check me out and appreciate the love.
Nah, man, I appreciate you coming on and being a part of the family here at Miami Sports Music. And I will see you in 2 weeks. And hopefully by that time, we're talking about pitchers and catchers reporting.
Yes, sir. Sounds good, my man. Appreciate you having me.
No problem, man. Have a good one, Xavier.
Later.
Xavier Scruggs, ladies and gentlemen, back to back, the best baseball segment in all of podcasting. Super excited to have him on. I think it's awesome from the standpoint of having one of the top people that cover baseball and get his unique perspective on what's going on, not only in baseball, but just a standpoint of, the Hall of Fame voting, how the game is being looked at, how the game is being marketed. I'm a big baseball fan, and I know a lot of things need to change in order to bring on a bigger, a bigger listenership or a bigger viewership of the game and a younger generation to watch it. And I think Xavier's a big part of that. And I hope you guys are going to enjoy that because every 2 weeks we get to hang out and talk to that guy and about what's going on with the game and where it's headed. And I think it's going to be awesome. And I love what Xavier does. And for me, if you have not done so already, please go follow him on TikTok, on Instagram, and on Facebook and everywhere, on YouTube. He's got such amazing content, and I can't say enough great things about him. So make sure you guys go check him out. All right. Without further ado, it's 10 a.m. Where are your kids? Do you know where your kids are? No, remember the old commercial? It's 10 p.m. Where are your kids? Look, we are about to have the best segment for hockey. So without further ado, let's get going with that. Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got the coolest guy in the business in South Florida, my man David Dwork, who's coming. You're coming from the dentist, right? Did you get anything done? Did you get anything done?
Yeah, just finishing up. Got a root canal last week, so they had to do the
worst
post-work or whatever.
No, I thought you weren't going to get grills, David. You weren't going to get grills.
No, I haven't quite graduated to that level of cool yet.
No, you're too cool for us, man. We're here with the Panthers update with David Dwork. Man, this hockey team is something else right now. So let me just let you take the floor for the beginning because, look, they won yesterday 5-3 against Winnipeg. They're, in my opinion, and arguably a lot of people's opinion, the best team in hockey. There's not enough good things to say about this team right now, right?
Yeah, it's a great time to be a Panthers fan. This team that Bill Zito's put together has really shown to be one of the more formidable teams in the league. They're scoring like crazy. It's really pretty awesome how they're able to just come at you line after line. That's one thing that we've talked about a lot is the depth this year. Obviously your superstars like Jonathan Huberdeau and Sasha Barkov and Aaron Ekblad, they're all doing what they should be doing, which is playing like superstars. But when you're getting contributions from like 20-year-old Anton Lundell, Mason Marchment's back in the lineup now. Ryan Lomberg's having a career year. Anthony Duclair is having a career year. Eetu Luostarinen has been an amazing fourth-line center. When you've got a guy like Patrick Hornquist, who's solidified your fourth line, this is a guy that was top power play, top six his first year here, most of his career. So this team is just stacked. They're playing great hockey right now, and they're rolling. It's great to see.
You've been covering hockey for a very long time, and you love the game of hockey. Have you ever seen a team that, like, if you had to compare this Panthers team to any past NHL team that people would know, who would you compare it to?
Ooh, that's tough. Only because, this Panthers team, as good as they've been this year, it's a small sample size. So when you think about some of the best teams you've seen over the years, you think of staying power. But in terms of like the ability to just come at you line after line, to have, as dominant of a fourth line, as potent as a first line, second line. You think like the Detroit teams of the 90s that would just come at you in waves. The Chicago team that won 3 cups in 6 years, they were incredibly consistent. It's not often when a team this deep and this well-rounded comes at you. And I just hope, for the sake of Panther fans that have been following the team and suffering with them for so long, that what we're seeing this year is what we think it is, which is sustainable. Everybody's really locked up long-term. They've got all the pieces are in place right now, really. So it's something that I would consider sustainable. I hope it is. I don't want to put the horse ahead of the cart just yet. But look, just looking at the facts, it's hard not to think that this is going to be a team that's going to have staying power.
I feel like I've never watched, and I'm still learning the sport. I was a casual fan, and I would say over the last couple of years, I've started to watch more and more and more, and become more of somebody who's now I'm emotionally invested in the Panthers, not only because I cover them, but because they're fun as heck to watch. It's crazy to see teams put up 5 goals, 6 goals, 9 goals in a game on a consistent basis. Like, that's the other thing that's crazy to me too, to just that firepower that you're putting. Like, any team that goes up against them any given night, that goaltender, that goalie's got to be prepared for what's coming at him.
It's hard to be prepared for, a potential 5 or 6 goal offense. And speaking as a goalie myself, I would just kind of put that out of my head and just go out there and play and hope for the best. But it's at this point, it's almost gotten ridiculous. Some of the ways that the home games have gone recently, with fans like legitimately chanting, "We want 10, we want 10." It's nuts. But that's what happens when you have a team that, look, they've basically got 2 number 1 lines. When you've got the Sasha Barkov line with Carter Verhaeghe, and last night it was Maxime Mammon for a lot of the year. Sam Reinhart's been up there, and then you've got the Huberdeau line with Sam Bennett, the chemistry with Sam Bennett, the chemistry that they have, and then Anthony Duclair has kind of bounced between the top and second line. It's kind of crazy how they've got so much power. And then when you look at all the contributions that they've been getting from the back line, their defenders, not just Aaron Ekblad, but Mackenzie Weegar, Gus Forsling when he was in the lineup, Brandon Montour is running the second power play unit. It's really cool to see. And in terms of the scoring, like at this high of a rate, you think like the Colorado Avalanche recently, but really it's not often, especially the way the game has kind of evolved the last couple of decades into at first goals were cutting down, then they wanted to increase the scoring, and it didn't really work out the way they thought. So for a team to be this potent and, as you said, this consistent, it's super rare. But it's great because like you were just saying, you're a casual hockey fan that's just been swept up in this really fun Panthers team, and that's a great thing for all the casual hockey fans out there, because the Panthers are a non-traditional team. They don't really make the playoffs very often. So for them to start getting that attention and for people to say, "Oh, I got to see what the Panthers did tonight," like that's a really good thing.
Alexander Diaz here in the chat is a longtime listener, and he's an Islanders fan. We don't hold it against him too much. But, he has a point here. He says, I don't think the Panthers can sustain this because they don't have enough defense. Where do you think the Panthers defense is sustaining this into a long playoff run hold up? Because here's the thing we don't want to talk about, Tampa Bay. We got to face Tampa Bay in the playoffs, odds are. And we know where we're short against them. So just where do you think our defense holds up and sustaining that for a long playoff run and eventually to Tampa probably?
No, you got to look at the defense in different levels. Like if you're talking about the defensive scoring and you don't think that's sustainable, I respectfully agree to disagree, just because it's not like an individual effort by the defense, an individual effort by the offense. Like there's synergy with the way that this team's runs its systems. The defense fuel the offense, so one does not work without the other. If you watch the Panthers in their own end, anytime they get the puck on their stick, anytime, whether it's a defenseman or a forward, they're immediately out into the neutral zone, pushing back the other way. It's very fluid. So in terms of the scoring and the production in that level, I'm not concerned at all with the defense. If you're talking about the defensive aspect in their own end, that's part of, live and die by the blade, right? Because you play this fast-paced style of hockey where it's often rushing high speed through the neutral zone, odd man rushes, pushing the pace, and that kind of goes both ways. And that's why it's so exciting hockey. In their own end, I think they've been okay. Like, I think they've been a lot better than they were 2 years ago. I think they've improved on last year. I think you're seeing it in Sergei Bobrovsky's play, just because his play hasn't really changed a whole lot, but his numbers have improved. His statistics have improved, and that's because the play in front of him has improved. He's not dealing with the high danger chances that he was dealing with the last couple of years. So it's been a slow but steady process. In terms of the D holding up injury wise, I mean, Forsling's been out. You've lost guys here or there, but I mean, I would expect Bill Zito, just because he likes to have a lot of D around, to look for maybe bring in at least one guy at the trade deadline. I mean, we've got guys like Chase Prisky and Matt Kierstead who are right on the cusp of becoming into that fold of competing for that bottom D pairing as well. Prisky had a really good game last night in Winnipeg. Kierstead had some good elements to his game the previous game. I'm totally blanking on the road trip here. It's been like such a blur. But no, Kierstead
goals.
Yeah, well, no, was it Edmonton or Vancouver? One of the two. Yeah, it was Vancouver. Either way, no, I honestly, I get the question, but the defense is not really the concern for me with this team. Like, if anything, there's one defensive spot, the number 6 spot, that maybe you'd like to shore up, but the goaltending honestly would worry me more individually than the defensive effort, just because relying on the defense is a little bit easier for me than relying on Sergei Bobrovsky, just based on his time in South Florida.
Hey, let me ask, you said something about the trade deadline coming up. Is there a name Panther fans should be on the lookout for that could potentially make it a welcome addition to this amazing team already?
I wouldn't say there's one name that they should watch as like a guy that the Panthers are targeting. I mean, I know Jacob Chikrin's name has been thrown out a lot lately, but I mean, that's like the big, he's like the white whale of the trade deadline. He's going to be the big one out there. I don't know if Florida is going to want to give up the assets it's going to take to bring him in. I know that there's interest. Florida would love to bring him here. I don't know if the price is going to work out, especially when, if you consider they could really shore up their defense from bringing in, like Dahan from Chicago, Chirot from Montreal. There are other options that are going to cost you a lot less than it would be to bring in a Jake Chychrun. Now, Bill Zito is certainly one that is not shied away from making the big deal, as we've seen, bringing in, Reinhart and Bennett. He's made big deals already in his time here. His first move bringing in Patrick Hornquist from Mike Matheson was certainly opened up a lot of our eyes into what he could be capable of, and he's followed through with that. But I can't say that there's like one specific name to target. I would just say it'll probably be somebody to play in that middle or bottom pairing defense, just to kind of shore up that area. Forward wise, it's hard to see them adding much just because they're so deep already. I mean, maybe you can make improvement here or there, but I would imagine it would cost you some of the depth to do it. But I mean, really, this team is pretty set as is. And then, Steven, one other thing to keep in mind when you talk about the acquisitions, this is a really tight-knit, good group in the dressing room. You don't want to mess with that camaraderie. And odds are you wouldn't. But I was talking with Billy Lindsay about this on my podcast the other day. And, he was saying, when you think about taking a certain guy out, maybe they're not playing as many minutes, but if they're a big popular guy in the locker room, you don't want to mess with that chemistry with a team that's playing this good and is this much of a cup contender at this point. I would think they're going to be, involved at the trade deadline to a certain point, but I wouldn't expect anything big.
It's not going to be somebody who's going to mess with the first or second line. Probably it'll be somebody that's further down. And even with that being said, you just kind of answered my question. My next question is, this team is already set and primed to make a Stanley Cup run. And what I just want to get over the Tampa Bay hump. That's what I want to get over. So my question to you is, does this team stack up well against Tampa Bay in the playoffs? And can they beat them? Because for some reason, it feels like Tampa has our number year after year after year.
No, I think at this point, and that's kind of the difference with this Panthers team than in past Panthers teams, it's not so much how they stack up against other teams, it's how they stack up against the Panthers. Yep. They're putting their style of play out there, and it is working game in and game out when they're on their game, which they have been 90% of the time. They are damn near unstoppable. I don't look at it so much when the playoffs roll around as the Tampa hump to get over as it is, let's get out of the first round. Let's win a playoff round for the first time since 1996 and get over that hump first. But really just the way that they've played this year, that first round opponent, it's probably going to be Tampa or Toronto or maybe Boston. depending on if Florida ends up in the top spot in the division or not. And Boston certainly looks like they're going to be taking one of those wild card spots the way they're playing lately. But either way, like it's going to be Tampa probably in the first or second round. I think the Panthers' goal at this point, while getting out of the first round hasn't been done and you want to, see them break that threshold, I think their goal is far beyond that now. I mean, it's basically Stanley Cup or bust with a team this good, as it should be. But in terms of like matchups in the East, whether it's Tampa, whether it's Carolina, whether it's Toronto, like you're going to have to play some really good teams to get through. I don't really see the Panthers having an issue matching up with any of them. I think the X factor at the end of the day, like I mentioned before, it always comes back to goaltending. And in that regard, you always have to give the nod to Tampa just because they have the best goalie in the world. Now, Florida's team, I think they're good enough to overcome that this year. I'd love to see the matchup again. I don't know if you agree with me there because Tampa, as you said, they've had.
I want to face Tampa in the Eastern Conference Finals to go to the Stanley Cup. That's what I really want.
Well, I hate to break your heart, but that definitely won't happen just because they're going to, if they play each other, it'll be one of the first 2 rounds.
I know.
In the Eastern Conference Final, you're going to get stuck playing, unless one of them ended up the wild card, which neither of them are going to end up a wild card team. They're going to have to play each other in the first 2 rounds.
Let me ask you another question real quick, man. So I'm looking at this team, and it's so weird that you say, "Hey, we just want to win a playoff series." That 1996, right? And so, but it's Stanley Cup or bust, and it's so weird to say that to a team that hasn't even won a playoff series, and 20, almost 30 years. That's kind of insane to say to hear a statement like that. I agree with you. I think it is with this roster Stanley Cup or bust. But in any other professional sport, to hear that is kind of weird. Would you agree?
No doubt. And I mean, I think that it's more to not so much to do with how good they are now. It's the like everlasting futility that they had to suffer through to get to this point that you just don't see across. I mean, professional sports. I mean, look, in the NFL, we're seeing the Bengals do stuff in the playoffs they haven't done in about this longer, actually. I think it had been longer since they'd won a playoff game. Since like the early 90s.
Chris Collinsworth was still on their team. He was now in the booth,
exactly.
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, and I mean, it's rare, no doubt. But look, it is what it is. I mean, if you think of like how far they've come recently, I mean, last year they had a really good team that ran into a Stanley Cup champion in the first round. They played that amazing series. That team could have made a little bit more noise if the playoff bracket had shaken differently. But I mean, it's. Yeah, like my personal goal, just because I feel like you just have to do that first, is to get out of the first round. And I think they will get out of the first round this year. I think they're going to get out of the first round and the second round. And like, assuming that they stay healthy, I think this is a Stanley Cup final team.
It's going to be a fun, like the atmosphere. I've watched games on TV and the atmosphere looks crazy already. I can just imagine what it's going to be like come playoff hockey time. It's going to be insane.
It's really cool how because like even in the last few years when they've had decent teams that have been like, you're going to make a run at the playoffs or whatever, like this year, it's like December and January and you're already seeing like this amazing atmosphere at FLA Live Arena that I really haven't seen covering games there, attending games there. My family were season ticket holders there since day one. So I've been going to games before I was ever covering the team. And the way that they're chanting, the way that they're doing the wave, they're singing songs after they turn after the play starts. They keep singing when the play is going on. It's just like fun and festive. And it's like the spot. It's like a Heat game where like it's like a big party and everybody's having fun and the team is winning. And they're bringing that atmosphere finally to Sunrise. It's so cool.
David, I'll do you one better. And I know people are going to hate me say this. I think the atmosphere is better with y'all than it is the Heat right now. And the Heat are great. The Heat are doing a great job. But I've watched both games, and it's a lot funner and I like basketball a little bit more than hockey. But I have to tell you, watching the Panthers play is hands down one of the best things you can watch on TV right now. I can only imagine what it's like being there. And I have always said, even being a casual hockey fan in the past, playoff hockey is hands down the best sport to watch, and that includes NFL playoffs.
Yeah, playoff hockey is second to none. And I mean, to the Panthers fans' credit, like they bring it when the playoffs have been here the last few years. Last year with I don't even remember if it was limited capacity by the time they got to the playoffs. I just remember it was loud as hell, and it was a great environment. That Game 5 that Spencer Knight played out of his mind. It was so loud and so fun, and with your lives on the line. And like that's what they need down here. Like they need that sustained for like a run, a few rounds deep, a few years. Like that's how you build it. That's how you get that heat culture atmosphere that they get for like a November game against, whoever's, I'm not sure the NBA standings, the Magic or, the Grizzlies or whoever's not that great this year. I know the Nets are good and,
the Grizzlies have Ja Morant, but I get it. I get where you were going.
Well, no, like a Tuesday night against the Islanders or some team that's not a
Oh, I'm so glad you said the Islanders because there's New York fans that watch our show and they're absolutely big Islanders fan. You just made my day, David, because now they're going to be in the comment section talking about the Islanders are a great hockey team. No, they're not. They're really not.
The Islanders have probably my favorite goalie in the league right now in Ilya Sorokin. I love that kid. I watch Islanders games a lot just so I could watch him play. I'm glad that they've been playing better of late because he's played so well early in the season. He deserved a better result. But to those Islanders fans watching, I see you guys. I see you've turned it around. You're making a run, and I love your goalie.
I love it. I love it, man. All right. Hey, real quick. I just want to ask real quick about Spencer Knight. You brought him up real quick. He went down to the minors for a little bit. And honestly, the whole Omicron COVID situation, I mean, NHL took like a week off. There was a lot of people I felt like there was one night, how many people dressed for a game? It was crazy. What is the update on all of that? And also because I feel like Sergei's playing out of his mind, but I feel like Spencer Knight would be a starter on some other teams playing between the pipes. Would you disagree or agree with that?
I mean, skill wise, he'd certainly get a consideration. I think because of his age, I don't know if you'd want to throw that big of a weight on his shoulders just yet. But I mean, it's not like, it hasn't happened here and there when a guy is as good as he is. I think with Knight, he's just, a 20-year-old going through the typical trials and tribulations that somebody is going to go through in their rookie season. He's doing it a lot younger than most goalies do because goaltenders, it takes a little bit longer for them to develop than other, than skaters. Well, forwards particularly, D, it takes a little while. But no, I think, it's good that he got to go down to the AHL. He got to play a game down there. I think just keeping him in motion, that was a really weird time with what was going on with the COVID. It was
crazy.
With tons of players going. It wasn't just with the Panthers. There were a lot of teams that there was a few that had to dress short players just as they didn't have bodies to put out there.
I feel like Calgary went through a big ordeal, with
Vancouver, Edmonton, a lot of those northwestern Canadian teams. Some American teams, I think Boston had a big issue, Carolina, Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. It was weird. It was weird how it really peaked quickly and it got intense really fast there. Fortunately, I think it's kind of going down just as fast now. And, teams are healthier. They're going to have all that time next month for the makeup games. But with Spencer Knight, he had that great game in Vancouver the other night. I'm looking forward to seeing his next start because I'd like to see him kind of get on a roll a little bit and build that confidence. Because I think with young guys, that's such an important element is building their confidence and getting their inner belief up. Just because skill is one thing, but the mental game is also very important, especially with these young guys. So you want to nurture them and you want to make sure that, you don't get a situation like what happened with Carter Hart, this young, amazing goaltender in Philly, where they put so much weight on his shoulders that he really, he had to take a step back. He burnt out a little bit.
He crumbled.
And, yeah. And when it's nice, thankfully now he's, back being his normal self. I mean, Philly is terrible, but at least Carter Hart is playing, playing better. But yeah,
they are terrible for many, many reasons, David. Not just that, but I got you.
Believe Philly's bad. Carter Hart's not the reason Philly's struggling so much this year. But yeah, I mean, it's with Spencer Knight. I would hope that they're going to give him at least another, maybe 10, 15 starts in the second half. You want to see what you have, but as you said, Sergei Bobrovsky certainly played like a starting goaltender. He's played well enough to keep this team winning, and we'll see how it rides out when they get to the playoffs.
Last thing, real quick, do you watch the Olympics at all?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I know NHL obviously is not allowing players to play in the Olympics this year. Am I correct on that?
You are correct.
That's a big deal. I don't think that got enough media attention. And what do you see from Team USA? Do you know anything about this current USA team that'll be playing in 2 weeks?
Honestly, I don't know a whole lot about the rosters. I know the rosters are just starting to come out now, and you're seeing a lot of non-NHL pros that are making it. But I mean, remember that the NHL players were supposed to go. Like that's why they have all this time off in February. That was the plan. Was they were going to go there. They were going to compete in Beijing. Then Omicron hit. They have pretty extensive quarantine rules out there. And then, you have to make these decisions right when, it was like late December, when everything was peaking and we didn't know where it was going at that time. And the NHL at the end of the day, they had to salvage their season. I made sure that they were going to keep that intact. So the decision was made that players wouldn't be allowed to go. And that left a lot of countries scrambling to fill their Olympic rosters. But I mean, look, it is what it is. And, it sucks for some of the older players that aren't going to get a chance maybe to compete in 4 years when it comes back around.
Yeah.
But look, there's never going to be a solution that's going to be happy for everybody. Like, I say all the time, the world is not black and white. There's a lot of gray out there. And, there's no answer that makes everybody happy, especially with something as huge worldwide and as controversial as this. So it's unfortunate, but I mean, I will be watching. It'll be a cool opportunity to see, some maybe young people or maybe some people that are older, like our age, that didn't think they'd get a chance to do something like this. But
there'll be that
awesome
story. Yeah, I love the Olympics. Well, curling is my favorite. I don't care what anybody says.
No, all the events, like
3
that's the thing. I just love watching it.
Yeah.
You remember the Summer Olympics a couple of years ago, like that swimming coach that was like going crazy, and that's like what makes it so cool.
And what's funny is the Olympics just passed this summer, right? We had the Olympics in August.
Was it just last summer? God,
it was just this summer, man. It was
man.
Because remember, it was supposed to be 2020. We had this thing called the pandemic. I don't know if you remember it at all, David. And then they took a whole year off. And they said, we'll play it in 2021. So they did in 2021. So it is the shortest amount of time from the Summer Olympics to the Winter Olympics ever in the history. And because they ended, I think, at the end of August, and February 3rd starts the Olympics, which I love the Olympics. I want to go one day. Like, it is on the bucket list of sporting events to do. All right, David, tell people where they can find you on social media and your awesome, amazing podcast.
Yeah, for sure. You can follow me on Twitter at David Dwork. I've got my podcast, Chirping the Cats. You can find it on, all the podcast platforms. I've also got a YouTube show that airs every Monday at 2:00 called Odd Man Rush. You can find that on the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel.
Shout out to those guys. Love 5 Reasons.
Yes, they are the best. I love Ethan and all his dudes. And yeah, all that. And then all my written work is on local10.com as well. So yeah, there's a lot of Dwork Panthers coverage out in the hockey sphere.
If you want to find some Dwork coverage, you can find it anywhere. Let me tell you. David, thank you so much for coming on, man. I love having you on. I want to have you on more. You like the little background I made for you and everything?
Dude, I was distracted earlier because I was checking out, I was looking at the flag there. What's the flag say?
Where's the flag?
The Dolphins flag right over your shoulder.
Oh, well, you're talking about this. This is so real quick. I got this from the German Dolphins fan club. They sent me this, and it has their little logo on it, and it has Miami Dolphins Germany, and it's got their little logo on it. But I was
checking that out earlier. No, for sure. I appreciate the backgrounds. Like I'm in my.
I was talking about the digital background, that I made for you on the screen here. That's got. That's what I was talking about.
I'm so distracted by your room and the cool stuff behind you. No, that's actually really cool. I didn't even think about it. I was looking at my name
Dolphins
before.
Fan?
The day I was born, the Dolphins played in the Super Bowl the same exact day. I've been a Dolphins fan since the day I was born.
All right. Well, I got to ask because it'll be a great transition, man. What are your thoughts about, the Dolphins and where they're at and the coaching search and all that? I'd love to get your thoughts on it.
Man, I feel like I'm in an endless cycle of feeling like this, where it's like this uncertainty because we're going to get another coach. Are we going to get another quarterback? Like, I like Tua, but maybe he's not as good as we all thought he was. Apparently he can't make throws down the field, which, it's like when Ryan Tannehill was here, I didn't hate on Ryan Tannehill. I hated on the offensive line. And it's the same thing now.
Same thing.
Until there's an offensive line and quarterback can be protected, I can't judge the quarterback properly. Apparently,
you should go back and listen to my show yesterday. So yesterday I had TD Finns Talk on from TD Finns Talk on YouTube, and TD was on, and he made some really good points. And one of them was we went back 16 years, David. We went back 16 years, and we did all the AFC and NFC championship games over the last 16 years. And that's 64 quarterbacks. Now, there's Manning played in a bunch of times, Brady played in a bunch of times, so it's not separate, but you take each year in its own grain of salt, right? So 64 times over the last 16 years, we only came up with 6 names that were comparable to where we're kind of at with the Dolphins, right? So you took Jay Cutler, Mark Sanchez, who took the Jets twice to the AFC Championship game, right? Blake Bortles, Rex Grossman, Joe Flacco, and Jimmy Garoppolo, right?
Rex
and
Grossman.
So I know, right? And so now you take his grading scale. You have elite, great, really good, above average, average, and below average. Okay, that's the grading scale for your quarterback. Average, we had Cutler, Sanchez, and Bortles. That if everything's perfect around him, you only get to good. And there was only one quarterback that we had, and that was Flacco, that his baseline was above average. That you put everything perfect around him, you go to the third highest tier, which is really good. So that put it as Flacco was able to win because everything was perfect around him, and he was an above average quarterback to begin with. But unless you are a good, really good, great, or an elite quarterback as your baseline, you're not winning a Super Bowl. You're not. So Tua, we all said Tua is probably between average and below average. So even if everything's perfect around him, offensive line being included, David, he only gets to good. And so he's not going to win, like based on that logic. And it was, I didn't even think about it like that because, David, I was of the mindset, put a good offensive line around him, we'll be all right. But if the numbers show in the last 16 years that in 64 separate occasions, that's not going to happen, Tua's not the guy. He's not. And so that's kind of, I thought it was a very interesting way to put things.
See, that I'm not disparaging that at all. I'm just saying I'm not ready to judge what Tua's ceiling is and where his rating is until I see him play behind a decent offensive line. They've got some weapons there for him, but if he can't get the ball to somebody beyond 10, 15 yards down the field because he's got 2.5 seconds to throw the ball and your offensive playbook goes from this big to this big because you can only run certain plays, I feel like I can't judge the quarterback properly. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, if he's that good, he should be able to overcome that. But I'm a Dolphins follower, so I haven't seen that since, I was a kid when Dan Marino was a quarterback. So for now, I'm not ready to judge Tua.
That's a fair statement, and I don't think that there's no right or wrong answer. I think the fan base is just split, and I think that's where it is. And I think the
fan base is just fed up, man.
I mean, think about it.
The last time they won a playoff game, I was in high school. My face was painted. That was 1999 or whatever it was. Like, it's been a generation of Dolphin fans who grew up without a playoff game. They're fed up.
A playoff win, 100%.
Yeah, playoff win.
Well, because I was at the last playoff game. I was at the negative 11 degree Pittsburgh Steelers game at kickoff. Yeah, 11 rows.
I was at the last
field.
home playoff game.
Was that the Ravens?
Yeah. The last 2 home playoff games were the Ravens.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, it's so tough I love the Miami Dolphins. They're the reason I do this show, right? But it's heartbreaking. And I love the team, but I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to make the right decision with this new coaching, with whoever the new coach is going to be, because it looks like Dayball is going to go to the Giants. And not that I wanted Dayball to begin with, by the way. But it just looked like they're not even going to get the guy that they wanted, who I didn't want to begin with. So I don't have a lot of faith in what's going to happen.
At this point, I'm just along for the ride because, like, you just here's my example. You go back a couple of years to the NFL draft. If the Dolphins would have drafted Herbert over Tua, there would have been riots in the street. People would have been so pissed off. And today, it's like, oh my God, why don't we have Herbert? I'd rather have Herbert over Tua. Like, whatever decision they're making, we could love it or hate it or whatever until we see how it plays out. Like, that's at the end of the day, that's what matters. So at this point, I'm just along for the ride. I'm on the Panthers train. I'm covering, I'm tunnel vision with the Panthers.
You're tunnel vision with a good team in South Florida, a great team like the Panthers, man.
No, like,
David,
look, ride or die with the Dolphins. I'm just whatever they do, they've got my support.
David, I love having you on, man. I want to have you on more often. We'll definitely have to make this a more regular thing, but I just want you to know I love your work. I love what you're doing, and I think we got a lot of fun ahead of us in the coming months, man. It's going to be a lot of fun covering this team, right?
Yes, sir. No, man, I appreciate you very much, man. Just hit me up. We'll do it again.
Sounds good, David. You have a good one.
All right, brother. Be well.
Be well. David Dwork, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! What a show so far this morning. Xavier Scruggs, David Dwork. Come on, y'all. Y'all get great coverage. Get great coverage. But now it's y'all's turn. It's y'all's turn. It's y'all's time. I'm talking about Dolphin Chat. Hashtag Dolphin Chat. We're going to do the panel. We're going to have a lot of fun. I think it was a lot of fun here. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put the link in the chat for you guys to come on. I just want to do a couple of promos while I wait for everybody to come in the back room. Want to remind you all tonight, the Fins Tailgate Show, starting at 10 p.m. El Capitan will be on. That'll be a lot of fun. Make sure you guys go check out my man here. Also, Friday night, Covering the Spread with the Fins Tailgate crew. Make sure you guys check that out live every Friday starting at 10 p.m. And if you missed any of the shows this week, like the Miami Sports Music Power Hour, or if you missed Dono and Daniels, please go back, listen to it live, replay it, share it with people. And we got a lot of stuff going. So it's been a lot of fun so far this morning. I've loved hanging out with y'all. This is going to be a lot of fun. We'll see what happens, man. We shall see what happens. All right, let me start bringing on these wonderful, amazing people that I got in the back room here. It looks like y'all are starting to get on. We're going to have a great panel today. It's Wildin' Out Wednesday. It's Mortal Kombat Wednesday. I expect things to get a little dicey. Hit the like button. Donate to the channel. Let's go. All right, Alexander. What's up, Alexander?
What's up, Steven? How you doing today, man?
Man, I'm here. What's up with you?
Not much, man. Hey, I've been thinking about, things that you were saying, about that thing that you brought up about the David Dwork, about the good, elite, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think you need an elite quarterback to win it. Because it's proven to be done that you don't need an quarterback.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. But I think I know where you were going with it, Alexander. And what I'll say is you don't need an elite quarterback. You need a really good quarterback to win.
Good to above, really good to elite, through elite.
Yep.
Not only elite.
Yeah.
That's what the whole topic was about.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Only
Sorry
about
about that.
only having an elite quarterback.
What's up, Crypto? How you doing, man?
All right. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting discussion y'all had.
What's up, Crypto?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Alexander keeps going in and out.
No, I just said that.
How you doing,
good.
Crypto?
All right, I'm doing good. I thought it was an interesting topic. It was pretty good to break down the different tiers of quarterbacking because, the data is there. You can't really argue with the data.
You can't argue with the numbers at all. You can't.
Because those quarterbacks
true.
that was below average to good, they had everything around them that was
Perfect. That was
and the
perfect.
probability of that versus just the people. If you just isolate all the good, really good to elite quarterbacks that won it, they really didn't have everything around them.
Look, I understand there's
what's the elite quarterback if you have an elite? Let's just take Patrick Mahomes when he won his. He didn't have a perfect defense. He didn't have a perfect secondary. I mean, he was still winning games with it, on his own with shootouts, He won it. He didn't have the perfect team around him. That's the thing. Is either you want the perfect team with an average to good quarterback, or you want an elite quarterback where you don't have to spin your tail trying to build everything perfect around them. Is this what direction you want to go? That's the key. That's the true thing. How you want to build this thing, because there's two ways to skin a cat. If you keep Tua, then you're gonna have to have nearly perfect things around them. If you get Deshaun Watson, you might not have to have everything around them.
What is going on, Crypto? What it sounded like I was in a 1980s movie.
I don't believe that you need the perfect system around you for Tua. I don't believe that.
Yeah, but Alexander, it's okay to not. I'm gonna put you on mute, Crypto. It's okay to not believe that, Alexander. but the numbers don't lie. Look, I get people, as far as TD's concerned in his point, right, with making this and how we did this yesterday. I get that a lot of people aren't necessarily there is a portion of the fan group that won't listen to TD for whatever reason. And there's a portion of the fan group that says, well, he doesn't have an O-line around him. And it's tough but this makes sense to me. You have a baseline for a quarterback. I think it's fair after 20 games to give a baseline to Tua. I'm not saying it's fair to judge him fully on it, but I think it's fair to give him a baseline. And his baseline is below average to average. And so that only puts him too good.
I agree. I agree, because he hasn't been consistent, throughout the last 2 years. And and I agree. It's not that I enjoy listening. I enjoy listening to TD as well. TD has all my respect in the world, just like you and everybody else, with your opinions, and stuff like that. And I do agree with you, but I just need you just need to be around him. You just need to build a good enough team, not great, but a good enough team to give him what he wants and to see how he succeeds. And if he doesn't, then you move on and go on to the next guy.
Right, that's a different path. I mean, but how much you would have to do to get to the level where he's leading us to championships year in and year out. That's what people's having a argument.
Well, I think another problem.
I think you need to give him
another problem that you have with all this too, gentlemen, are you have to realize that there is a portion of the fan base that wants to win so bad, which by the way, I think we all want to win so bad. But I think there's some desperation within the fan group that
it's just two different paths people want.
It is. And there's nothing wrong. Like when you look at the 2-and-ears or 2-and-on, and you look at, people that supported Tannehill for all those years, and you have people that, supported. I think when you look at it and it comes down to it, it's a matter of who's going to put us in the best position to win. I'm going to root for whoever's playing quarterback of this team. I'm going to root for whoever's the head coach of this team. But I can be optimistic, and I can be critical of this team and also say at the same time, while I'm rooting for them, I don't have faith that the Dolphins are going to do the right thing here. That's a fair statement for me to say. That doesn't mean I don't like the team or I'm not going to root for them.
That's a track record. That's why.
That is a fair statement, Stephen. The track record proves it. Yeah. The track record does prove that, Chris Greer and everybody doesn't give the fans enough optimism,
Right.
But I mean, as far as my opinion goes, I believe that no doubt about it, Chris Greer has to hit this out the park. Has to hit this hiring out the park, or else he's gone next year, because he knows that his tail is on the line. But as far as the head coaching candidates, it's gonna be Brian Dable. That's what I'm thinking. At the end of the day, it's going to be Brian Dable.
Dayball looks like he's headed to the Giants, man. I think he's headed to New York.
Yeah, he's headed to New York. His GM is there.
I think that's as good as done.
I hope it's not Vance Joseph. Oh my God, I hope it's not Vance
Joseph. No,
if
it was Vance Joseph.
I really don't.
Let me tell you something, Alexander. If Vance Joseph ends up being the guy in Miami, two things are going to happen. Number one, the fan base is going to flip its lid. Let's just get that straight. The fan base is going to flip.
Exactly.
Number two, the second thing that will happen is
2.0, Steven. That's why.
100%, right? But the second thing that will happen is, and this is what I'm
2.0, yeah.
I think that when you look at it from the standpoint of the Miami Dolphins, you have to understand that they have to make some sort of splash. And I think they know that. So if it's not going to be with the head coach, I think it's got to be with the quarterback. And so that would tell me, because Ross has got to show this fan base something. And Vance Joseph would not be it at all. He would only rile them.
Vance Joseph, definitely. What other splashes will they make outside of changing quarterback?
That's what I'm
saying. Brown.
I think
Brown.
I mean,
I've always said Thomas Brown was.
I would love Thomas Brown here.
He's my dark horse.
Yeah, you did say that.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
I would love Thomas Brown here.
Because they're still
He's
playing in the
assistant head
playoffs, and they haven't made an announcement. Alexander, you notice that if all the teams that was a candidate on the list could have already been announced. There's no reason to hold back the announcement if they wasn't looking for a team, a candidate that's already eliminated. You know what I mean? Because all the candidates that they interviewed is already eliminated, except 2 of them. So what's the reason holding back the announcement?
You know who I'm shocked?
It's got to be Thomas Brown.
Hey, first 2 just dropped. Jaguars are finalizing deal with Byron Leftwich. Jaguars will have Byron Leftwich as their next head coach.
Right. Well, Leftwich was high on their list.
You know who I'm surprised is not getting any consideration? Who I'm actually shocked is Jay Gruden.
I said that yesterday.
Any consideration? You did say that yesterday. Yep. You did say that yesterday. I'm going to piggyback off of that.
What he did in Washington, probably they still punishing him for that.
Well, I don't know about that, Crypto. What I'll say is I think his brother has a lot to do with it, right? His last name.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
And fair or unfair, I think that's the reality of what that is.
Yeah, they thinking birds of a feather flock together, huh?
Yeah, 100%. Now, I do want to say this, guys. So now that Byron Leftwich is going to be the new head coach of Jacksonville, that does leave Jim Caldwell open, who did interview.
That's a match made in heaven.
Right?
Yeah, it does. It leaves him available. Yep.
Yep. And so I'm
hope the Bears doesn't lock him in because they already had the second interview with him.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So, I think that, by the way, I feel bad for Jacksonville.
Steven, I wanted to ask you a question when you're done.
I feel bad for Jacksonville because I feel like
I wanted to ask you a question when you're done.
Jacksonville, Steven.
Because I feel like the only reason that they made the Byron Leftwich move is because of Byron Leftwich. Byron Leftwich,
because he's a player, because he used to play for him.
He used to play for him, and like, let's be honest, Brady's calling a lot of those plays. Brady's calling a lot of those plays.
Yeah, but
if Brady don't like something, he ain't calling.
You're right. Brady is calling them once he get on the field and make adjustments. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He turned Jameis Winston into a 30 touchdown quarterback
and a 30 interception quarterback too.
Well, that was on Jameis Winston.
You got to give him that at least.
He had the potential for 60 touchdowns, Stephen D.
But he turned.
Because if you turn those interceptions into touchdowns, that's 60 touchdowns. You know what I mean? He had the potential. I'm not saying he would have.
He did turn Jameis Winston around.
He was there.
Look, I'll say this. I think when it's all said and done, and guys, in the chat is the link to come on. Come on, let's get a bigger panel. I do find it interesting from the standpoint of you have to understand that there's only so many head coaching jobs in the NFL. And the Jaguars need to do something to make their fan. I'm interested to know what Jacksonville's fan base thinks of this because Leftwich is a likable guy. I like Leftwich. But is he the best candidate to turn your entire franchise around?
We're gonna see if he's gonna get fired.
I'm gonna say no.
Fire if he's not gonna be fired. Urban Meyer.
We're gonna definitely see about that.
I'm gonna say no.
I tell you what, he does have a good. He did have a good relationship with some of the players over there in Tampa. You know, especially Brady did credit and that's Leftwich for some.
I think
that's fine, but by the way, I could be wrong too because if you look at it from the standpoint of, I didn't think Zach Taylor was going to be a good head coach for the Bengals, and look at him now; he's in the AFC Championship game.
I did not either.
I mean, first time head coach too, Stephen.
I did not think Zach Taylor was going to be that good.
Yeah,
I didn't even think Cincinnati was going to be that good. Stephen, I wanted to ask you a question about. I'm sorry, Crypto. Sorry, go ahead, Crypto. Sorry.
No, I was saying Taylor. I didn't know one way or another. That's why it's a crapshoot with first-time head coaches. If they got the right personnel and people in place, they can succeed. Because you got to start from somewhere. That's why I'm not totally out on any first-time head coaches, as long as they're a good offensive candidate. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we'll agree to disagree there. I feel like if you look at it from the standpoint of first-time head coach, I don't think is going to have the opportunity to bring a fan base together. 1, 2, 3, 4 F's. Get back up here. I saw you in the back room. I was about to bring you on. Go ahead, Alexander. Ask your question, Alexander.
All right, I want to ask you this now. Now, apparently, what I'm hearing is that the reason why Peterson wasn't – I want to see if there's any truth behind this. The reason why Peterson did not interview for the Dolphins job is because there's a rift between him and Chris Greer. Is that true?
I have no idea if that's true or not.
I don't know if you heard about anything.
Look, two things. I have told you, Alexander, for weeks now. I don't delve into the world of the rumors and all these third-party posts of like, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I think that the Dolphins had a list of guys that they wanted. Doug Peterson was probably not on that list. He should have been, by the way. And that's just what it is. That's what it is. And that makes me very upset. That makes me very upset. 1, 2, 3, 4 F's. What's up, Epps?
Me too.
Good morning, Steven.
What's up, Epps?
I saw the panel was low.
What's up,
You said, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you. It's unacceptable, Epps.
Unacceptable.
I saw that Steven asked for people to come up. And
Unacceptable.
Steven, if you ask, I'll come up for you. I was on the bench. I benched myself, but I'm better. I'm better.
We're going to get you back into the starting lineup.
You got my message on Twitter, right?
Yeah, I got it, man. I got it.
So, Epps, man, just tell me, man, what have you been the last few days, man? You know, I haven't had a panel on. I know it's funny, right? I haven't had a panel on, and there's been a lot of people that have been kind of upset with me for not having a panel. And I apologize to those people. But now I have an open line, and there's nobody coming on.
I apologize, Steven.
Just what do you think, man, of everything going on? There hasn't a lot of no news. A lot of non-Dolphins news, just a lot of speculation.
I think, honestly, what I believe is that I think we're waiting on Mike McDaniel to get out of the playoffs. I think that's going to be the hire. If they can get him, I don't know if they can. See, at this point, we just have to trust in Ross and Greer and hope they make the right decision, because I'm done going on social media and complaining about this, that, and the other. It's embarrassing as a man to do that. I mean, every little thing Tua does or says, I dissect and do this. I should never be doing that. I'm just going to hope that the process works. Hope Stephen Ross makes the right hire.
Hope is a funny thing, man. Hope is a funny thing when it comes to being a Dolphins fan. Absolutely.
Right now,
you know
our quarterback is Tua. I can't change that. You can't change that. Crypto can't change that. Alexander can't change that because we don't work for the Dolphins. So
what are you talking about? Else, it's on the South. Well, I can change it tomorrow.
We have to play with the hand we were dealt. That's the problem. We have to play with the hand we were dealt. So, like, if you use TD's logic, it's only control what you can control. But he doesn't go by that. He says one thing and does another. That's another comment, TD. But
wow, calling out TD. Calling out TD.
TD, get up here. TD, get up here.
The only thing I can control is if I'm going to renew my season tickets next year.
You know,
I'm joking. I love TD.
You know what, Alexander? You're right. The fan base should be doing exactly what you did. Control whether or not they're going to go to the games. You're right.
Yeah, you got to control what you can
come
control,
to the
man.
games. Come to the games.
I spent $7,000. I spent $7,000 last year on club level tickets, bro.
Wow.
I've invested over $40,000 since 2016 into this Dolphin franchise, bro.
Yep, you got a stake.
Not once.
The fact of the matter is,
my sales rep never called me, never talked to me, and never told me anything. Because you remember, Dolphin went on a rant a while back about that.
Yeah, and she got a lot of things fixed, I believe.
Shout out to Dolphin, yeah. No, she did get a lot of things fixed. You know what's crazy? I told you guys this at the Ravens game. It was either at the Ravens game or I forget which game it was. I'm setting up on third down, and I got somebody behind me who was on the opposite team saying, "Tell me to sit down," and then the security guard comes and tells me to sit down. I'm like, bro, it's third down with 5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. Get out of here! Like, are you serious right now?
I haven't been to a Dolphins game in a while because I moved, so I don't know how it's gone. But back in the day, when we were kids, man, we used to go to If there were seats open, we would go down to the seats that were open. We would do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Hey man,
And
hey
The
Shake
Panthers
Money,
never
what's
get
up,
any
Shake
attendance.
Money?
I used to do that.
Shake Money's up here,
Shake
guys.
Money, what's good?
Take yourself off mute,
Shake
Shake Money.
Shake money.
All right, Shake.
everybody has
Shake Money, take
My bad.
yourself off mute.
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Good
Pretty
morning,
good. How are
Shake.
you?
How are you?
Good morning,
Not
Shake.
much.
How you doing, man?
Hey, listen, I just want to bring up a point that a lot of people don't really talk about. There's Kirby Smart said one time, you can't outcoach recruiting. And I say the same thing about the NFL. You can't outcoach talent. Yes, Zach Taylor made it to the AFC Championship, but you really think he'd be there with Josh Rosen instead of the quarterback that he has now? Bill Belichick, one of the greatest defensive minds
Good point.
and greatest coaches of all times, couldn't go to the playoffs with Cam Newton. So was it coaching or was it talent?
Yeah, you're right.
That's actually a good point.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, look, I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of both. And I think that's the easy answer to say, but I think it's
70-30, 70 talent, 30 coaching.
If you think about it, since Cam Newton came in the league, a lot of quarterbacks have been using this bootleg run, and a lot of teams have been figuring out how to stop it. Cam Newton was never an accurate quarterback, and that eventually caught up to him.
That's why Hill and Cam Newton don't.
Hey, Christolakis, what's up, Christolakis?
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Hey, Christolakis, what's up, man?
So listen,
I just want to bring up one more thing.
Go ahead.
Everybody's crapping on Jimmy G, but if you look at it, Kyle Shanahan, who's this offensive genius, has more wins with Jimmy G than without him.
Yeah, he
Just
does.
putting it out there.
Yeah.
And plus, he won 17 of his
He
first
does.
20 ball
Yeah.
games.
He's a good coach.
If it was to be a quarterback style, I know winning is. But Jimmy G has won 17 of his first 20 games. Only 3 other quarterbacks in NFL history has done that in their first 20 games. Just want to put that out there.
And you see, that goes back to my point that I was saying earlier, that you don't need an elite quarterback to win you a championship. You don't need an elite quarterback.
Who?
You just need to have enough talent around to win it.
We have said you need a really good quarterback to win a championship.
No, you don't need a really good. I feel you don't really need a really good quarterback.
And I said
feel you need
the
a
probability
quarterback.
is higher with a really good to elite quarterback. That's how you treat it.
You do need
If you have anything below really good, everything around that person has to.
You do need a really good quarterback, even with Deebo Samuel, even with George Kittle, even with Nick Bosa, even with all that talent that team has. They're going to get shellacked.
Because originally the quarterback is going to be the difference.
I've heard people say they're going to win the Super Bowl. That's preposterous, in my opinion. Did you see what Mahomes and Joshua did? I mean, it was their offensive line.
Hey, look! Any given Sunday, right? Any given Sunday.
Right.
That's what happened to Green Bay. I mean, their special teams has been a problem all year, and it showed up. And it was a snowy game, and
Francisco is not playing with pocket aces. They just rolling the dice and getting lucky.
They had no intentions to think that they were going to win that Green Bay game, aside from a few people, maybe like Debo and some people that know they're great. But I mean, I don't think anybody really thought they were going to win that game and on that team. I don't think so. I mean, you just can't. I mean, but they did. So
with only one special teams touchdown. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't. I mean, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And
that's why I say if it was
also, you got to remember Mason Crosby left 4 points on the board as well. So
yep.
And I mean, also this coaching hire is. I've been telling everybody this coaching hire is the biggest thing that we have to look forward to because coaching is such an important thing. If I was the Bills coach, they would still be in the playoffs right now. I was yelling because I'm not saying Madden is like football, but I was yelling when that happened with 13 seconds left. I was yelling, why are you
do not play prevent defense?
No, I was yelling, why are you kicking it deep? You have to squib it. They have to field the ball. You're going to leave
Yeah,
Patty
that's what
Mahomes.
New England does it.
You're
Oh,
gonna have
yeah,
to
that's
leave
right.
Patty Mahomes.
That is
You'll
true.
leave Patty
That
Mahomes
is
with
true.
8 seconds and
Sometime,
8 seconds in one play. I do it in Madden all the time. I don't understand why Sean McDermott didn't squib kick the ball. It doesn't make any sense to kick it deep and leave Patty Mahomes with 3 timeouts.
Well, I mean, and then you could even say in that game there was like them playing prevent defense and allowing them to get those 2 like
rushing
no
4.
man.
Well,
like that was
rushing 4 was the
that's why I
rushing 4 was
think
the
Leslie
epitome
Frazier
of
cost himself a head coaching job.
rushing
That's
4
why
was the
Leslie
epitome
Frazier cost himself a head coaching job,
trying to lose the game,
in my opinion.
because
this guy's
I would have rushed nobody.
Go ahead, Shake Money. Go ahead, Shake Money.
Just to piggyback off of what Epps is saying, look what he did when he lost that field goal kick. Instead of moving to the right hash mark, so to give him a better advantage with the win, he didn't. You know what I mean?
It was bad coaching all around. Rushing 4, I would have rushed nobody. I would have put a QB spy out there, and I would have put 10 in coverage. And guess what? I don't care how long it took Patty to throw that ball, because guess what? He has 13 seconds. And that's after I squib kicked it, and he would only have 8 seconds.
Christolakis, I'm interested to get your take
Yeah,
on
but
any of this.
I got a big take. Just give me 13 seconds to park the car. Hold on.
Probability of 13 seconds, regardless if they kick it, they still got to go.
He would have
Hey,
8
guys,
seconds.
I gotta get to work.
If you squib kicked it, he would have had 8 seconds.
Be
Maybe
good.
less.
Be good, Alexander.
But that's
Yeah.
Because they have to
Quick
field the
question.
ball.
Have a great night, okay? God bless.
You too,
Thank
Alexander. Good
Have a
luck
good one,
to you,
Alex.
bud.
Next suck.
What was your question?
They have
Were
to
you
field
playing
the ball,
Sonic the
Crypto.
Hedgehog?
Huh?
Were you playing Sonic the Hedgehog?
No, that's my that was one of my ringback tones, but somebody was calling me.
That's funny that he got that though.
Because when you squib kick it,
It was my,
they
yeah,
have
that was
to
ringback tone.
they have to field the ball. They have to.
Estefan. Hello, Estefan. Hello, Estefan. Are you there? Take yourself off mute, Estefan.
Yeah, I'm surprised
You've only
somebody
been on a
was
billion times. You should know to take yourself off mute, Estefan.
I played that game religiously when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Hey, can y'all hear me? Or is it too loud?
We can hear you,
No, we can hear you, Estefan.
All right. I got breaking news. Breaking news. The guy at the corner store at about 5, 6 in the morning that was buying beer told me that Deshaun Watson is coming to Miami. He's cleared of all charges. He's coming, baby. Help's on the way. Tua's going to ride the bench, or he's getting traded if somebody wants him, or he's going to the CFL. They're going to cut him.
Steve, I heard your show yesterday. It was a good show. TD has a lot of logic in what he made and his little
TD killed it.
His presentation that he put together was very good, and it makes total sense. But with that being said, I'm done being a Tua detractor because it just leads to a road of nowhere. I mean, at least Tua supporters are supporting the team.
Does everyone hear the fan base? Does everyone see the Miami Dolphin fans right now? How down we are. If the front office does not nail, hold on,
Epps.
If the front office does not nail this head coaching position, there's going to be a turning point in the Miami fan base.
It's going to be a mass exodus.
Go ahead, Christolakis. Finish your statement. And then
they have to make the perfect head coaching pick to heal this fan base because we're already divided because of Tua. And if they give us no hope with a head coach, like Crypto said, you're going to see a lot of people exit this fan base. Guaranteed.
Christolakis, I'm sorry to disappoint you, brother, but that's going to happen. I'm going to tell you that right now. There is no one person. Think about it. I want you to think about this for a second.
There's no coach that can do that.
There is no coach. You know what? That's a lie. I'm wrong. There are 2 people that I think a majority of the fan base would be okay with. John Harbaugh and Jim Caldwell.
They will.
Yep.
They're trying to be united behind
majority of the fan base would be great, right? So, but those 2 guys are not coming. So with that being said, any person that is picked, whether it's Vance Joseph, whether it's
a downgrade,
Daniel, the fan base is going to be up in arms about it, bro. Like that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
Still gonna be tied.
And get used to this because it's going to be a.
But Abby, you're already used to it. I think this is the final straw for all the Dolphin fans.
I don't. But Christolakis, but I feel like fans have been saying that forever, though. Dude.
I'm so loyal,
they've been saying it
Christolakis, that it's
almost
disgusting.
25 years now.
That's why I said
not after you blow up the team the way you did, not after you give us hope and then take it away, and then all
I'm
of a
so
sudden,
loyal, it's disgusting.
Right.
Greer has nowhere to hide with this.
The Bengals
this is do or die for him.
They successfully tanked and rebuilt their team in 3 years. So none of this 7-year plan crap or 4-year plan crap. We got the Bengals gave us the perfect blueprint on how to tear down a team and build it up in 3 years. So it's no excuses. You better win at least 12 games this year or it's fire and brimstone.
So Joe Lee and somebody else just said that a minute ago. The front office will make the same mistakes. So we as fans need to vote with our dollars. Boycott Ross. Let me tell you what the problem with boycotting Ross is.
You're going to get money in advertisement anyway.
They don't make their money from ticket sales, y'all.
No,
they don't.
No, they don't.
Ross,
what you need to do is go to the games
with a clown mask on.
Well, I mean, you need to show them that you're upset about what's going on the field. I don't think by not buying, like, number one, it'll never get that big to do it. So that's not the route that y'all need to go. I would say that from the standpoint of what would make the Dolphins, like, something on social media, a movement on social media would have more of an effect than you not showing up to the games. 100%.
Yeah.
But I think we should do that.
We got to encourage advertisers to pull out so we can make sure Stephen Ross goes bankrupt.
Stephen Ross.
There's no way that's ever going to happen.
He doesn't care at this point. And
do you have any idea how many assets Stephen Ross has?
Hey, what?
He could buy another NFL team if he wanted.
It's not about buying another NFL team. It's about him respecting the fans. He's got to respect the fans.
What's up, Todd?
Hey, I've been a Dolphin fan for 36 years, and this is the most important decision that they're going to have in my lifetime.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you.
Well, I'm telling you all right now, they're going to let you down.
There is no decision, though. That's
they are
the
not
thing.
The next decision is the one that's going
You
to be
can't
important.
invent something that's not there, Todd.
Yeah, but
you know what's funny though?
What?
Okay. Stephen Ross was an underbidder for the Jets in case the Johnsons didn't buy it. He was going to be the next in line to buy the New York Jets.
Well, he would be in the same place that we are now. There's no difference.
My point about the coach is you can't invent somebody that's not there. You can't invent a coach that's going to be perfect. You just can't invent it. So your guys' hopes of making the perfect hire, I would get that out of your head because you're going to be very disappointed.
No, he's not perfect.
I'm not saying the perfect hire. I'm saying that this coach better come in and win.
Right.
Well,
with this talent.
That leaves a lot to be said as well. I know we're on a sinking ship, but I'm still going to have to go ahead and support Tua. And let's see. Right now I'm doing research for the draft, researching free agency, seeing what we can get seeing what we can get to help this kid. That's the problem.
You know what hurts? You know how many Miami fans there are out there that weren't around for the Marino days, weren't around for the days where we would make it to the AFC Championship game. They've never even seen a playoff win. Those are the fans that are going to be jumping off the ship.
Yeah.
And what makes me nervous, too, is that somebody might pluck either Marv Allen or Reggie McKenzie, because I think since those two came on board, that's when the draft picks started getting better.
I don't think
they're going
to. I agree, but I don't think they're going to be plucked because the one team I was worried about at Chicago hired someone else. And neither of them have only once been asked for an interview, and that was by Chicago, and they picked somebody else.
Right. They just picked him up from the airport last night. He's officially their hire. Polk, I think his name.
Who is?
Polk, the GM for the Bears.
Because
he's the guy from Kansas City.
You have to think about this as well. How many people have the Dolphins interviewed? They haven't interviewed Jim Caldwell. They haven't interviewed Harbaugh.
See, you guys are looking at it from the standpoint.
You know what I'm saying?
Hold on,
Right.
Epps. You guys are looking at it from the standpoint of we all wanted Caldwell. We want Harbaugh. We want Doug Peterson. They haven't even talked to those guys.
Exactly.
Hey, hold up,
and so the team
Steven.
has a totally different direction that they are moving in. Whatever that direction is, I have no clue. But it's not that.
It's been reported that they've had interviews that they haven't put out because they don't need to because they're not NFL jobs. So we don't know if they've actually interviewed any of them behind the scenes. You don't have to do it. You don't have to report it till the second interview.
Well,
process.
Todd, let me tell you something, dude.
Yeah.
Until the Dolphins say breaking news, the Miami Dolphins are going to have X person as their head coach.
It's Todd. What would be the
Todd? I just want to refute one thing. I just want to refute one thing about that. I know that the Dolphins don't have to interview, don't have to disclose the coaches, but guess what? Those agents, they're going to want to, because they're going to, if only one team is interested in that coach, then their value goes down. So
Todd,
they're going to want to say, hey, guess what? Somebody's interviewing Jim Caldwell today. Who else wants him?
Tim or Todd?
Jolie, by the way, Jolie's comment is legit. That's the comment.
Hide an interview. What would they benefit? One beneficial reason of hiding an interview. What would it be? There is none.
Well, there is when it comes to one person. And that's the only person that it would benefit Ross to hide it would be Harbaugh, because he's trying to save face with Michigan and possibly hire Miami.
No,
that's
real quick. So there's this 4-minute segment that I want to play from Good Morning Football, from the people at Good Morning Football, and it's about it's hashtag we in or we out, okay, on the statement, and is the Dolphins or Giants head coaching job, which one is more attractive, right? So I'm going to play this 4-minute segment real quick, and then we're going to talk about it. So put yourselves on mute, let this play, and then we'll talk about it afterwards, because I think it's a lot of good points up here.
The Giants head coaching gig is more attractive than the Dolphins head coaching gig as we head into 2022. Kyle, we in or we out?
I'm out on the Giants being more attractive. What am I walking into? Okay, so quarterback, I don't know. The star player is always hurt, the running back, and we have to pay him or something. You're basically taking the job being like, oh my God, these draft picks better work, and if they don't, I'm out. The Dolphins job, you're walking, you're like, all right, Jalen Waddle looks like a great player. We have some really good players on defense. We have some draft picks coming down the next few years ourselves. I like Miami. There's a different kind of pressure there, and no state income taxes, so I'm going to go Dolphins. You have to mention it. If I wasn't going to do it, Kay was going to do it.
It was the first thing I was going to mention.
Do it again.
You stole it from me. I'm going to say I'm out on this. It's obviously the Dolphins. It's back-to-back winning seasons and Van Ginkel. You get
Andrew Van Ginkel. Good
in
call.
The mix there. But more importantly, you don't have to rebuild. You don't have to decide what a culture is. You don't have to deal with the headlines here. And they have a better overall roster. You get Waddle. You get Xavier and Howard. And I looked it up. Cap space guys, they are sitting pretty. They look awesome. They have the most cap space. Nobody has more. $70 million. If Tua doesn't work out this year, you have two first rounders in next year's draft. So you've got a decision, but you've got a buffer too. This is a beautiful job, and odds are where I would want to go, especially because of the taxes, but also Van Ginkel.
Yeah, you guys are smart. I moved to Florida in the mid-90s.
Okay.
And my agent, one of the first things he told me, after he told me you're going to move to Boca Raton, I'm like, I'm 25. What am I going to do in Boca Raton?
Sure.
He said, I'm going to save you a boatload of money. Your taxes, your house would basically be for free. I said, okay, I can listen to that. And I live 40 minutes from where the Dolphins train and from their stadium. We're probably like 40 minutes from where the Giants train. There's no comparison. Unless you told me there was a huge cap, they had some young quarterback on his first contract, that they had a number of first-round draft picks, but no. It's overrated, the marketing in 2022. You can be anywhere. Look at Joe Burrows and them. They're doing all right in Cincinnati. They're doing all right in Cincinnati. Like, you don't have Green Bay. The players are doing all right there. To me, landslide. Take the Miami gig on the field and off the field.
Yeah, and just a note, Daboll, whereas he doesn't have any real relationship with Daniel Jones, he was Tua's offensive coordinator at Alabama. So he might walk in there. They might be able to open that suitcase. Now, look, neither job has been offered to Brian Daboll. He might end up empty-handed. Last year, there was a lot of talk he might be going to L.A., and they hired Brandon Staley, and people were shocked. Like, wait, I thought Daboll was going to L.A. So we'll see how he interviews today, but there is something to the Giants' mystique, no? Am I just nostalgic?
Well, I mean, it's always about the nostalgia. That's the problem. It's always, but remember,
to me, as a guy who grew up in New Jersey and watched Parcells and then watched Coughlin, like, I don't know. I still look at What are we doing over here?
I had to send my boy Dayball a little something. West Florida, New York. I had to send him a little
This is
something.
Brian Dable. Brian Dable, I'm sending you a voice message from the Good Morning Football Breakfast Table. We are live on the air. Chris Carter just handed me the phone. Peter Schrager says hi. Kyle Brandt says hi.
Dolphins.
We hope you're doing great. We just decided you're going to Miami because of weather, no taxes, the fact that you get to inherit Van Ginkel.
Is it good?
You also have Tua. If you don't like him, I know you know him from Alabama, but if you don't, you have 2 first-rounders
He knows him the best.
year, and you have $70 million to play with, so go get it.
Tell him about the taxes.
Yeah. Tell him that I take the Jacksonville job too before the Giants.
Nice.
I'm a good bowler.
No,
See,
no, I
look
like
that I
it.
just
No
did.
taxes
Strike.
there either.
Well, that was a
If
lot.
we get a response, that would be great. But my giant sell is, well,
Okay.
you guys already did your Dolphins thing.
Yeah.
No, is there something though?
Yeah,
we're missing?
the
Tell me.
Giants. The Giants.
What does that mean?
It's a crown jewel franchise in the NFL. It's New York. You're a star here. You can be a star anywhere. And I guess I tried.
Is it attractive to someone that has is there a personality out there, Shrakes? It's like, I can go in here and there's obviously a standard because it's a great franchise, crown jewel, but that I can create whatever I want. There's no identity to this team. You walk in the room, you got issues up the wazoo. Like there's no identity to the team, and you can craft that. Is that attractive to someone?
I don't know. I don't know about their roster right now. I don't know about the situation. And when you look at just the way it all went down with Joe Judge at the end there, you're going to really have to make a lot of key decisions. And I still think the Giants' job is an awesome one. You've got all those Lombardi trophies there, but guys, I couldn't disrespect anybody who says, "Hey, I'm going to take the Miami gig instead."
All right, hey, look. So I mean, basically,
This is a horrible take. This is a horrible.
I mean, look here. Like, so 2 things.
I
Number
think
one,
Steven, I think the tax situation is a bit overrated because it means 300 million people would have chosen to live in Florida. So I think it's overrated. Jim Harbaugh skipped going to Florida to the highest tax state out in San Francisco. So if you got a lot of money, you can find loopholes around the tax code. So I think that tax situation in Miami is overrated.
I agree with that. And also another selling point to the Giants is you're going to be able to succeed and win in the NFC least. You're not going to have to face Joshua Allen and Bill Belichick.
Yep. And I'll tell you
Exactly.
another thing. If you're starting as a head coach for your first year, you want to have longevity. The Giants give you longevity because you have to destroy and
You're going to
rebuild.
be able to
If you don't produce,
it is so funny that Dolphins fans up here are saying that the Giants' job is more attractive.
It is because you're going to
from a psychological
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Hold on. From a psychological standpoint, if you don't produce in Miami within your first 2 years, you're going to be out as head coach. With the Giants, you're going to buy 4 to 5 years easily.
And no, with the Giants' job,
The Giants
also-
were changing coaches every 2 years.
I was about to say, no way.
Yeah,
Giants
but
are
also
changing
with the
coaches.
In 6 years, they had 3 head coaches in 6 years.
Look how many wins
Hey,
the NFC
we'll say
East
this.
has had.
Hey,
Look how many.
if you
Look
don't
at the wins.
if you
you're
don't
gonna be-
succeed in New York,
Go ahead, Todd.
the press will kill you.
Yeah,
you'll
there's
be
no way
flat.
there's no way you're getting 3 to 5 years in New York if you're not succeeding. That's one.
Not if you unless you blow up the team. Unless,
Well, I mean, but
Guys had more time here.
Y'all keep bringing up every good reason. I agree with y'all. But the fact that you have Tua as your quarterback does not make this an appealing place to come. Even Dable admitted yesterday he's questions Tua's ceiling. So I'm just saying, man.
That's a rumor. It wasn't
unless
proven, but yeah.
no,
That's not true. We don't know.
no, that's a fact. That's
It's
a
a
fact.
rumor. He
Okay, so how come there's a report saying that he does want to work with him? See, y'all go with the reports that fit y'all narrative. Y'all need to stop that, man.
No,
Hey, there's also there was also
No, it's a fact, man. The guy at the corner store
there
told
was
me.
also a report he's not tied to Tua. That if Tua at the end of the year he can make the change to another quarterback and he's not tied, so he won't take the fall for it.
All right, let me.
Who
let
they
me-
gonna
hold on,
trade
hold on,
Tua
hold
to?
on. Well,
Or
I
just-
mean, there's a lot of teams that would probably take.
No,
a chance on
I'm
him.
talking about the 2023 draft when all those quarterbacks are coming out.
Hey, you're getting feedback, Todd.
Man, y'all sound like some haters. Y'all hating on Tua.
No,
Hey,
it's
hey.
not haters. It's not haters. It's
I'm joking,
on,
bro.
Hold on, Ennis, what's up, Ennis? Take yourself off mute, Ennis.
So I just was going to tell y'all, it's going to be something coming down these channels probably today or tomorrow that's going to take this YouTube community up because There's a lot of false stuff going on. Not with y'all on this panel. It has nothing to do with nobody on this panel. I just want y'all to know when y'all hear it, y'all gonna be shocked. Crypto, I need you to check your phone because me and 2 other people tried to reach out to you.
What
Uh-huh.
I'm getting bad feedback.
What you say, Ennis?
Ennis, I was getting bad feedback. I don't know if that's crypto.
No, he said.
It's not me. I'm on mute, Steven. I'm on mute.
Crypto, I'm getting feedback from you too. Have headphones if you don't have. Guys, headphones and a microphone. Headphones and a microphone if you can.
Yeah, I'm on mute, so it's definitely not me, Steven.
Okay. Ennis, you there, Ennis?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so repeat real quick. I didn't understand what you said.
There's some shady stuff going on with a certain person that has a channel. I can't say right now, but y'all just stay tuned. It's gonna blow y'all socks off. I'm telling y'all now.
When is it coming out?
Soon as we compare some things, me and 2 other people have to compare. That's why I need Crypto to check his phone and call a certain person back.
You're too all right, man. Hey, look, I've said this. I said
This should be interesting.
I said no matter what, there is nobody that is covering the team right now. You 2 beat writers, it doesn't matter. That has an inside track on what's going on. What crypto?
It's not about the Dolphins.
Insane right now.
Crypto, your beat feedback is bad. Crypto, go out and come back in. Christolakis, let me ask you a question, Christolakis. Where now that Byron Leftwich has taken the Jacksonville job, you would agree with me that everything else is going to fall into place. A lot of these head coaching positions are going to start to get filled over the next few days.
No, I don't think so. I think we're going to wait till either a week before Super Bowl or a week after Super Bowl before all the head coaching jobs are finished. I don't think that you're talking about like this week, the remainder of this week, you're going to start to see head coaches start to roll.
I mean, I said the moment that the first one gets filled, that you would start to see the domino effect from everybody else.
No, because it's Brian Leftwich, and I don't think that was a big until the first big name falls. Then yes, I don't think Brian Leftwich was that big of a name.
I agree. I think it's when one of the big ones fall. That's the only way it'll start happening because that's when teams will panic. Byron Leftwich isn't making a team panic.
You're not wrong, right? You're not wrong from the standpoint of I think that Byron Leftwich, his only option was going to be Jacksonville. Nobody else was considering him, I think. And I think it was just the fit of saying that Adam Schefter is saying Jacksonville hasn't signed Leftwich. That's interesting because that's not what.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you, Steven, that it's not official yet, but you guys were talking, so I didn't want to interrupt. But I did want to say that how they're going to have to sell the Dolphins head coaching job is going to have to be something of the sorts of, listen, this is what we have. We have these picks next year. We have this amount of cap. If Tua doesn't work out this year, it'll be his. We'll move on from him and let you figure out what you want to do. So I'm thinking that they're trying to hire a coach that's going to be more than just a 1-year guy. That's what I would think they're going to do.
And F, don't forget, we have a GM that has no damn testicles that will bow down to whatever the coach wants.
That's true too.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
true. Chris Greer's a whole other topic.
Whoever Chris Greer hires, he's not going to hire someone that's an alpha that's going to overtake him. He's going to hire someone that's a subordinate, and that's a problem. Chris Greer needs to let go, put his trust into the head coaching, and just let him do his thing. I'm sorry, Greer had great draft picks, fine, but as far as the team and as far as the players, he's got to let it go, and it's do or die for him. If he doesn't nail this head coach, he's done, and he knows it.
Yeah, because if Tua doesn't work out next year and we don't at least make the playoffs, Greer's going to be fired. I fully believe that.
I'll take it one step further. I think Ross, if it doesn't work out, I think Ross is just going to pass the team down and just be like, "That's it. I tried. That's it."
I've said that. My theory is
Ross said he would never sell the team.
Hold on. No, he never said that.
Yes, he did. He said
no,
he would never. Yes, he did.
Epps, he has a succession plan in place for
For when
somebody
he
to
gets
buy
sick.
the team.
He has
Yeah, but that's if he dies.
That's if he dies, Steven. That's like a will thing.
Or retires.
Or if he
Or
gets
retires.
cancer. Or if he gets cancer or gets sick.
I'm telling you right now.
You'll see. You'll see.
Look, I'm telling you, my theory is this. My theory is that if this version of this team does not work out, which I, again, don't believe that it will, if this version of this team does not work out, then I think he's going to sell the team. I've said that. I 100% believe that.
He won't go through another rebuild. He will not go through another rebuild.
He's done.
It's not even the rebuild. The backlash from the fans, he's just not going to want to deal with it. He's going to say, let me just try it after this year. And if this year turns out to be a total disaster, Ross is not going to stick around for the Fire. You're going to see.
I disagree with that. But I I forgot to say, Steven, when I watched the show with you, Cameron, and TD, I loved how you threw those flip-flops on that quick, then. That was amazing, man. You're like the Flash out there, bud.
Hey, man, I have no problem wearing flip-flops. I'm good with wearing flip-flops. But that was a fun show last night. I hope you guys had a chance to enjoy that. If you didn't, go back and check it out. Miami Sports Music Power Hour. That was a lot of fun. And having Solo on was good at the 20 minutes. You had a pretty good one, man. What did you say about
I said, as a fellow balding man, I can tell you that Bahamas is planning everyone's murder right now. And that's true, because there's nothing more sensitive to a guy that's balding than to someone that call him out for his balding. So
it was really good. It was a really good show last night. If you guys missed it,
Honestly,
you guys need to go back and check it out.
What I hope for this upcoming season is we get the draft right for once, because I mean you see a lot of guys in late first, early second that are just great. I mean, where was Deebo Samuel drafted?
Epps, it's not about. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's not about the draft. I use the capital to trade
I'm saying for the future
known players.
I'm saying for the future, John. I'm saying for if this ship sinks like I think it will. I'm saying for the future of the franchise, to get this draft right is going to be very important for the 2023 season, the 2024 season, and going forward.
Well, we're going to have what, the 30th, 31st, probably 29th draft pick this year. Our draft pick this year.
I think it's going to be 29th or 30th. Yeah.
So you don't got to worry about all that, Epps. They're going to trade the farm, bro.
I really hope you're right, brother. I really hope you're right. I'm not even.
You know that I'm going to be on board with our quarterback. I know that. I think we're on a sinking ship right now with Tua Tagovailoa. I do. The guy's a nice guy, but I just think we're on a sinking ship, and there's nothing we can do. But being angry about it all the time, and that's what I'm trying to change, because I've been so angry about it. I've been dissecting everything he says, everything he does. It's like my whole life revolved around another man, and it was embarrassing. So that's my whole point of I'm not going to bash Tua anymore. Do I think Tua is the guy? No. I think it's a sinking ship. But I'm not going to come up here and just be like, oh, I'd rather have David Mills or Ryan Leaf or this, that, and the other. I'm done with all that.
Well, buddy, if you want Ryan Leaf, man, there is no hope for this team.
Well, you know what I mean. I'm not going to.
Todd said something about fans jumping off and all that. Look, this is not the same scenario. This scenario has never gone down in the history of the Dolphins. They've never overturned the entire team and tried to build it from the ground up like this ever. So when you do we're at going on a 4-year.
This is going to be
on
the
this rebuild.
Year. Yeah,
right. The most important and key ingredient to that was a head coach, and I believe it was a mistake. You got rid of him. So now you have to be able to bring somebody in that can use the talent that's on the team. But where they messed up, the most devastating part, and it's the position that we talk about every day, and it's like some people don't get it. It comes with a lot of responsibility, a lot of accountability. That's the quarterback position. They got it wrong. That's the most devastating part. When you sit there on playoff weekend on the division in the divisional round, you see what Joe Burrow's doing. Man, I mean, it's like that guy has a different sense of just competitive gene in him. He's got a different gene in him. He's just not the same.
He's got
you don't just find. You you have to know what you're looking at. Joe Burrow has brought that team victories in multiple ways. He almost threw for 1,000 yards in back-to-back weeks. He's already beaten the Chiefs once. So the fact that we're dealing with what we're dealing with, that's devastating.
I agree that Joe Burrow is the real deal. Is the real deal.
Esteban, you know what? The one thing I'm looking forward to this year is if we build the team around Tua and it doesn't work, fine. We can draft a quarterback with a huge class in 2023 and put him onto a team that's pretty damn good.
Exactly. That's my
That's
focus.
the one thing I'm looking forward to, because if it works with Tua, great. If it doesn't, well, then guess what? 2023, draft a quarterback that's good, that you think, and you'll have the team around him for him to succeed right off the bat.
That's why I say this draft is so important, Todd. That's my
You
my
guys
philosophy.
got to let go of hope with Tua. I'm sorry. I thought you guys were smarter
It's not a
than this,
matter
being
of
Dolphins.
no. It's not a matter
Todd,
of that.
Hold on, Todd. We've been Dolphins fans for how long? We've seen how many quarterbacks come and go through this organization, and we're still clinging to hope. Like I've said before, this should be ingrained in our DNA. When we can see a quarterback and say this is not the quarterback, we got to cut our losses and move on off of Tua.
Hey, the 2023 class, there's one quarterback I like, and yeah, I'm a homer too. But Van Dyke is bad. He's huge. He can throw the ball. He has a gun, and for a redshirt freshman to average 350 yards a game, not bad.
I think Christolakis brings up a very good point, right? Epps, I'm just going to put you on mute for a second so I don't get background. I think that Christolakis brings up a very good point. I don't think as fans we have to understand where we're at as a franchise right now. And where we're at as a franchise right now is in this space of we can't seem to make the right decision. That's where we're at because we haven't. Our track record has shown that. We've been mediocre. We seem to have a revolving door of head coaches. Our GM is in the owner's ear who can't make the correct decision. There is nothing that this team has shown us that says, you know what, we're going to make the right decision this time. Now, with that being said, there is the optimistic of hope, right? Let's say they do bring in Mike McDaniel. Let's just use Mike McDaniel as the thing here. Mike McDaniel comes in and all of a sudden he's the next Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan or whatever from that matter. Great, so be it. I personally agree, though, in a couple of different scenarios. There are some people that say, well, this is the most important decision in this franchise history. I believe it's an important decision for the direction of the future, but if it fails, we are going to hit the reset button again with everything. And I personally think it'll be with owner, GM, quarterback if this does not work out. And we will do a brand new, we'll be on a brand new train next time. So right now, you are correct. This is a very important decision, but they have to make the perfect choice here. Why do you think the Dolphins are going to make the perfect choice is the question. That's what I want to ask you all. Why do you think that the Dolphins are going to make the perfect decision here? Because that's what it's going to take for the Dolphins to go to the next level.
The only hope that I have that they're going to make the perfect decision is because they actually did try to trade the farm for Joseph Burrow in the draft. So they kind of knew what they needed, and they went with their, I guess, backup plan. I don't know, but that's the only hope that that's the only decision I can see that they've made lately that's even been remotely smart.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's Chris Greer getting fired. I think that's the only person right now that knows he has to make the perfect decision and knows that, his clock is ticking. I mean, he knows that Stephen Ross is going to be here in the future, and he knows his time is limited in Miami. And if he doesn't make the perfect decision, it's going to affect his future plans as well, because people are going to see that. And all they're going to see is mediocrity, and no team is going to want to have a mediocre, unless you're the Detroit Lions, a mediocre team.
I mean, I also think it's funny that you all think that And by the way, this isn't a statement to degrade your viewpoints. I just find it amusing, honestly, that you all think that the Giants head coaching job is better than the Dolphins head coaching job.
I'll tell you.
No, it's just a better situation, Steven. It's a better situation.
So they brought up a couple of points. The Dolphins offense and the Giants offense, because I live in New York and I follow a lot of Giants stuff. They're practically the same. Daniel Jones is injured. He has a neck injury. So they're probably going to be shopping for a new quarterback in this offseason. I think the Dolphins offense and the Giants offense are the same. The defense we're a little bit better. The Giants defense has not been fully utilized to its max potential, and there is potential on that defense. Someone has to come in and fix that defense. Just tweak it a little bit more, and it'll be just as effective as our defense. But when we're talking about, come to Florida because of this, there's no state income tax. I mean, that's a joke. That's a smack in the face of Dolphin fans. That's all we offer, no state income tax.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only person that cares about that is LeBron James.
And the weather?
Yeah.
That's something that's appealing as Dolphin fans. That should enrage
Yeah,
us.
that was a terrible take. Yeah.
That should
Couldn't
make
say
us
that.
upset.
And plus,
because-
there's ways around the tax code. That's millions of ways around the tax code.
I mean, that's all that a coach has to look forward to. Oh my God, no state income tax. Come to Florida. No, that's not what we're about. We're a young team with upside and with great potential, and our defense is young, and it looks like it could be a knockout, a top 5 defense that could take any offense on. And instead, they're talking about the freaking income tax.
Back in the day when people didn't get
Right.
paid what they do today, maybe the state income tax did have an effect. But nowadays, with the money you're getting paid, it just is irrelevant.
Yeah. And there's so many ways to add more money to residual income to offset that anyways.
The best
you virtually
argument,
pay no taxes.
the best argument that they could have made was, which they did touch upon, was our cap. That's all they could was the cap.
Right.
And our 2
You got-
first-round picks next year.
I don't even care.
No,
honestly,
the 2 first-round picks because the Giants got 2
picks.
first-round picks this year.
Exactly.
Yeah, but there's
In the
also
top
a good
10,
chance
so
that
that
we could-
offsets.
There's also a good chance we could win 3 games next year.
Our defense is strong, and we have a
Win
lot
3
of
games. What do
opportunity.
you mean? Tua's
to
going to be our
fix-
quarterback. That's
to fix the
unacceptable.
offense. The
Unacceptable.
cap has to go directly to.
That's
the
what I
offense
mean. There's a good chance we could
this year, and to pick up Agba's contract. That's it. That's what the cap should be focused on this year. I don't even want to sign Gesicki. Gesicki is at this point. Don't sign him.
He's a bum, dude.
He's
He'll
not.
block
No,
you.
he's not a bum. He's just.
He'll
not
block
a
you if you say
blocking
something
tight
to him,
end,
trust
and we
me.
need a blocking tight end. Our cap has to
Yeah.
go to a wide receiver, another tight end, and to fix the offensive line. I'm sorry.
Go-
That's it.
Yep,
That's
Go
it.
give
why Cap
Gesicki
has
some
to go.
constructive
I
criticism
agree,
on Twitter.
John.
He'll block you.
And to sign Agba.
He
Agba.
will.
If we don't sign Agba, oh my God, help us, please, somebody, please, because I
Yeah.
cannot stand to see another defensive lineman go to another team and go to a Super Bowl and win. That's a fact.
And win.
See, that's
Yep.
the thing. We haven't
Like
heard.
Adama Suh did eventually. He got his cheap Super Bowl.
That's why this coach is so important to
Or
get
like Von
to-
Miller.
We need a coach
And Von
sooner
Miller,
rather
yeah.
than later, because then the coach can start making the decisions on signing Agba. Are we going to get rid of Gesicki? What kind? You know what I mean? Start to build a staff. I mean,
And that's
this-
why
if we
this
wait
is-
too
and
long
thi-
to
and
get a
this is
coach, it's going
why-
to get worse.
This is why this is such a big turning point for the Miami Dolphins and their fans. Not even just for the front office, for the fans, because if they don't make a lot's going to be told just based upon who they pick for head coach. And like I said, if they don't pick the right head coach, I think we could all agree that you're going to see a lot of fans start turning on the fan base and start jumping ship and start looking for secondary teams to root for, because no one's going to want to stick around to see either another rebuild or another year of mediocrity and just pretend like everything is going to be okay, like there's hope. Nothing in the past 25 years has showed us that there's going to be hope for even a playoff win. And if no Dolphin fan gets that by now, I'm sorry to tell you, either you're too young or you've been blind for the past 25 years.
Well,
Yeah, it's bad. It's very bad. And John's right. A lot of people will leave. I won't be one of them because I'm an idiot. But yeah, he's right. This coaching. This whole thing is so important. Like I said, because there's so many things that we need to do as far as players. I don't be surprised if we don't see Xavier Howard next year, because I mean I'm sure we all know he's the one who said that about Tua.
By the way, I call BS on that stupid Like I gotta call it what it is. There's no way a player said that. There's no way. I'm sorry.
So you're saying Omar Kelly
Said
lied?
what?
I
Wait a minute.
no
Wait a
way he
minute.
said
What do you
that.
mean? Yeah,
So-
yeah, he said it.
No, he didn't.
Omar Kelly's never had a false report since I've been reading him. So I don't know why he would just.
What makes
all
you
of a
think
sudden,
he wouldn't say that?
Well,
Yeah.
Matt Collins went on his IG and said there is no way anybody in our current locker room said that.
that he knows of. He
That's
knows
fair.
he knows
That's-
mostly the offense.
That's
and who's
fair.
who's the only player on defense that has the
But
clout?
1, 2, 3, 4 ups. Listen to me. Why? I want you to ask yourself a question, Epps. I want you to ask yourself 2 questions. If that statement was made by Xavier Howard, he would have to know that he would be the one that his finger would be pointed at. So why not just come out and say it? To hide behind the anonymity of that is BS.
Well, if you come out and say it, you're automatically going to be gone.
But that's fine. Maybe he wants to be gone, and if that's his point, then he would have said
Well, he does because that's why. See, Xavier thinks he's a top 10 player in the NFL. So he does think he's wasting his career. That's why he said it.
He did not say it.
I don't think X said it.
Do not put that narrative out there. He did not.
I to be honest,
we
I can
don't
see
know
Agba
one
saying
way or
it.
another.
Nobody else on that
Agba
defense
would
has
say
the
it.
clout to say something like
Agba's
that.
no, I'm just saying Agba's contract is up. It could be Agba. I really thought about that for a long time.
No, Agba said he wants to finish his career in Miami, though. He publicly said that. So I don't know why he would say that. We've had nothing but problems with Xavier Howard when it comes contract time.
When Agba resigns, I'll believe that he's back. But until that time, I think Agba's out the door.
Well, that's a Dolphins decision, but I'm saying
Oh my
Agba
God!
said
Don't say that. Dude.
Agba
Do
said
not say
publicly that he wanted to stay in Miami.
I'm just saying.
I hope so.
Man, I've never seen the Dolphin fans this depleted in a long time. Wow.
Like I agree. I think that there's the depression of the end of the season and kind of where we're at. And it said Omar said it wasn't X. Omar said it wasn't X. So Omar's report said it wasn't X. Like
Okay, then it was somebody else then.
I get it, but like even with that being said, it's a BS move to do that. It doesn't happen often. I'm not saying it doesn't ever happen. I'm just saying that we don't know what the whole context of what was said, if it was said. Like, look, I don't know Omar. I don't know Omar.
That he has a
personally.
ceiling. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Say that again. I missed that part, Steven.
I don't know what Omar. I do not know Omar personally. But what I will say is I find it very difficult for Omar to be saying a statement like that when his job is to be able to get clicks and likes and people to read his stuff. That's his job.
But
I'm just calling it what it is.
So you just think it's
clickbait. A report like that. That's
So
totally
you think he made
uncalled
up? You think he fabricated this big lie,
Right. That
and,
would
je-
be
and
just
jeopardize
egregious.
it? Jeopardize
Let's
his
not even say
reputation.
that it was a lie. Let's say it was true. But you think that the other Dolphin teammates aren't thinking the same exact thing though?
But
but who could say they have a long, great career ahead of them that would say that I'm wasting my career? Who would say that that's that good on our defense?
Agba.
It's got to be
Literally,
somebody
I just
that's
think it's got to be
prominent.
Agba.
Yeah,
I mean, the
somebody
only
of
people you
prominence.
can really say is Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis. These are the guys that are the heart and
You
soul of
think
our
their
defense.
career is
You know what I'm saying?
in
It's not going to be
jeopardy.
somebody like Jerome Baker.
Can't be a Joe Smoke.
He's an above average linebacker. You know what I'm saying? We just gave him a contract worth more than he should have got. So he's not going to get more money anywhere else. I don't know why he would say it.
Diesel, what do you say in the comments? What is this? Miami Dolphin fans bitch too much? Are you serious, bro?
Byron Jones.
I don't
Hey,
think we bitch enough.
I don't pay no
Thank
attention
you.
to it. I don't pay no
Thank
attention
you.
anymore.
Right. We don't bitch enough. What are you talking
Byron
about?
Jones is such a class
We
act
actually
of
cutting the
a
Dolphins some slack.
Hey, by the way, swear jar, gentlemen.
Byron Jones is such a class act of a man that I don't think he would say it.
Well, I was just quoting him. I didn't want to plagiarize.
You didn't want to plagiarize. I got you. Good job. Good cleanup there.
The
Hey,
safeties are-
look. Here's the reality. I don't like two things. I don't like that the report came out. Period. if you're not going to have a name behind you, like it shouldn't even
You
come
can't
out.
put a name out there, Steven.
Bro,
It's like
it should.
people say source. People
It's
use
a.
the term sources
It's
without using the
it's
name.
it's a
You
punk
have to
move.
do it.
It's a punk move on both parties.
It
On
is
the
a
When
punk
player
move.
who,
everybody needs to start
Agreed.
giving their sources.
No, no,
then.
it's a
agreed. That's
punk.
right.
It's a punk move on whoever supposedly said it, and it's a punk move. I'm gonna call it what it is, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but it's a punk move on Omar for even putting it out there.
Oh yeah, I agree with you, Steven. I definitely agree with you that if Omar's going to come out and start some kind of controversy like that, he needs to have some kind of validity behind it. He just can't say, "Oh, this is what I heard from this guy." I can't tell you who though.
Well, he
Like,
can speculate.
then
He
why
can
would
give you
you
hints.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why you didn't say it then?
We could all take an estimate of who it was. He can give you clues to who it might be.
Yeah, that's why I say it has to be somebody who has a career with the Miami Dolphins. Okay, so you have to have somebody who has a career. Okay, a lot of this defense.
I don't even want to talk about it because
Yeah.
it's irrelevant.
Yeah, I agree.
It's irrelevant. It
Yeah,
does not matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really care about the report either.
If next season doesn't pan out, everyone's gonna on the team.
Everybody's gone anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe Omar's looking for a new job. Who knows?
I don't know about that. That man.
No, he'll still be reporting on Dolphins mediocrity.
And by the way, let me state for the record that I think Omar's job is very hard, and he's put in very unique positions to have to defend himself and what he does. I a minute ago blamed him for, hey man, clickbait, right? Like what? But at the same time, that is part of his job. The same way is my job is to obviously. I only have 75 people watching right now. I wish I had 500. My job is to figure out a way to get more people to watch the show in the morning, right? So I have to. Let me step back from
Blackjack
what
and
I
strippers. Sorry.
Let me step back from what I said a second ago and not put the full blame on him because he has a job to do. But I just don't like. For me, I have a very difficult time swallowing that pill and saying, hey, there's a player that said that he's wasting his career because Tua's at quarterback. It's just, I just don't like it. I just, look, it does not matter who said it, Epps. It's I don't respect the report.
I think
that's
it totally
just real.
matters who
On
said
both
it.
on both sides. On both sides. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
If it was said, I think it totally matters who said it.
And because here's the real deal. If that player said it, would that player go to Tua and say it to his face? No.
Well, who wouldn't? I mean,
no.
Yes, yeah. I mean, who would be scared of Tua? I'm never mind.
Bottom
That player
line,
did not
guys.
say that.
Bottom line, as all Dolphin fans are listening, please just make sure that you press on the front office if they don't make this head coaching pick
I
correct.
looked. Listen, man. Stephen
I
Ross.
hope
isn't
your Twitters are
Stephen Ross is
blasting
not
them.
listed, man. Stephen Ross is not listed. You can't call him. I tried, but I've yelled on Twitter and Twitter. Stephen Ross doesn't even look at Twitter. I don't think. Honestly, I really don't.
We got to get with him. Send him a letter or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you think he's gonna read
the
a letter?
old-fashioned way.
Do
I
it
mean,
the
there's really-
I don't know.
Jaguars
Do
fans
it the
did.
old-fashioned
Show
way.
up
I
to
don't
the
know.
stadium in clown masks.
That's
Maybe
the
they
thing,
gotta
man.
see
I was
that.
so upset.
That was headlines. I mean, something just to show that Ross's team is more than just catering to celebrity.
I like what Dolphin Don said. I'm wasting my fanhood watching them go 3 and out. That's a fair statement.
I was
but
so
Dolphin
upset.
Don, you just stood behind your statement though, so I respect your statement. If you're not man enough to say who said it, don't make the statement to begin with.
Yeah, well, that's a case for everything. I've had people come up to me and say, "Hey, man, this guy said this about you." Unless I hear it out of his mouth, I don't even hear it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
all
Like,
yours. Like it's. I'm so glad you said that, Epps, because that as an adult they teach you if you have a problem with somebody, you go to the person who said it. I'm gonna call that. If this player said it, he is the biggest coward in the world. It is such a coward move. To say a statement like that under the shield of anonymity and then let it go out into the world. It's such a coward move. Matter of fact, let me make myself big. If you are the player that said that statement to Omar, be a man, come out and say it and put your name behind it. Because it is such a punk move that you would make a statement like that and not put your name behind it. Be a man. Say your name and be a man and put your name behind it.
Fact
But
of the matter
Steven,
is,
you're putting them in danger. You're putting them in danger of Tuanon, Steven. You can't do that.
Well, forget that.
No, man, screw Tuanon.
Nah,
I'm
a real
sorry.
man said, listen, man, a real man says what
You're putting them in danger,
a
man.
real man,
His
if
life,
you-
he's going
if
to
I got
get
a problem
kidnapped,
with
raped,
Steven,
and thrown
if
in
I got a
jail.
problem with Steven, I'm a man.
I'm so worked up about it, man. I'm so worked up about it.
If I got a problem with Steven, I'm a man. I'm gonna tell him, hey, Steven, look, I got a
Flip
problem.
side
with you about
Fishing
this.
said that's just not
But
reality.
Epps, that's
Steven,
the way
especially if
you
you don't see a
and,
change
and
in the
common people
organization.
do business,
No.
but professionals don't do business that way.
No, I know that because, like I said, I've had hundreds of people come up to me and be like, "Yo,
I don't like the
Johnny
report.
Johnny was saying that you were
But
saying
but
this
by
or
the
that."
way, let me state this too. I don't like the report, but that's my personal opinion of it. You don't have to agree with it. Omar Kelly doesn't even have to agree with it. Omar put it out. Omar is a bigger person in the game than me. 100%. Not throwing it out there. I just personally don't like that you would make a statement like that without putting your name behind it. I think it's a coward punk move.
No,
That's
it's
just,
definitely.
that's just, I'm just being real.
Once the person retires and write a book, they'll say it. They'll make you
It
happy.
is a coward move.
No one's
when they
gonna
write a
remember.
book,
No
they'll
one's gonna
say that they
remember
were
who
the
Tua
guy.
is by
I
then.
saw somebody in the comments. Maybe it was McCourty because he did.
They're
play
gonna
for
write
New
a
England.
book and they're gonna come out with a tell-all story and then you're gonna
Maybe it was McCourty because he did lose his job to Javon and Brandon, and he did play for New England. It could be him. I don't know.
It doesn't.
Somebody
It
said
just
that in
hurt-
the
it
comments.
just hurts
The
the
way
whole
they
team.
make moves, the way that this organization makes moves, man, makes you think they don't even give a shit about the fan base.
That's
like
what I'm
just straight
saying.
up.
Swear jar.
Yeah.
That's what I've been
It's so,
saying.
it's so, it's just so careless, bro. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
saw something on the internet the other day.
When we care more about Jennifer Lopez and Mark Anthony and stuff like that, what are we
I mean,
doing?
they should hand over the organization to them, bro. At least they'll get some implanted cheerleaders dancing around for y'all.
I don't
You
even
know what
care
I mean?
about-
But I just, you know, on a serious note, you see all these teams that have, you know, established like great, you know, offices, you know, like the Ravens, the Steelers, Packers, New England, and consistently day in and day out, year in and year out, they compete. KC. The one thing that they have in common is they have schemes that they run and prototypes of players that they look for in free agency or the draft. And so when you see free agency and the draft come, you see them pick a player, you're like, that looks like a... Sorry, I had to cut off because there was a guy with a muffler passing by. Anyways, but you see what I'm saying? When the draft comes, you know, I knew they were going to go after Najee. He just seemed like it's such a prototypical Steeler move. You know what I mean? And what's the other guy, the tight end, Claypool? They're the ones that go after guys like that. Why we don't, I have no idea. We
No,
give an
this,
undersized linebacker a huge contract, and we haven't even signed Ogba.
I
I'll
don't
tell you
even
what,
care
and
about the
this has
draft
me
picks.
very intrigued,
Take a page
Steven.
out of Los Angeles and trade the draft picks away for certified players that could play on this team. I'm done with draft. I'm done with the draft.
And you know what? If
Right.
you're a Dolphin fan and you want any hope, you should be rooting for that team to not only get to the Super Bowl. I don't know if they're going to win it, but I just got to say, if they get to the Super Bowl, bro, and I mean, even with the fact that they're in the NFC Championship, that should be an example for Chris Greer and Ross to see, hey, we don't just got to mess on picks in the draft. We can give them up and get, you know, established players, bro. It's like,
yes,
you know, the
That's
light
what I've
bulb
been
needs to
saying.
turn
I
on
don't
at
know
some
why we're
point, bro.
wasting our time
Like,
on draft picks.
you should be rooting for the Rams to win the whole damn thing because these idiots aren't going to get it, bro.
A great
They
quarterback like
they haven't
Joe,
had a first round pick in 3-4 years.
a great
The
quarterback
Rams,
like
and look where they're at now.
a great quarterback like
And let me tell you another thing. If Joe Burrow is the opposing quarterback, oh my gosh, bro, that just goes to show that you don't even know how to evaluate the quarterback position. Because to begin with, and I'll say from day one, the receipts are there. And I'm talking about going into week 2 of the college season when these guys were going at it between Burrow and Tua, bro. I was clamoring on TD's channel, bro. This Burrow guy, bro, I'm not even a scout, bro. And I was saying this freaking Burrow guy. You know what I mean? And Burrow had all the criticism.
When the fans
on what
can
they were
handle
calling
the
him a one-hit
organization
wonder.
better.
His arm wasn't good enough, bro. And these were our fans from our fan base that were established 2 years, bro, that were calling this quarterback out, bro. And look at him now.
You also have
And just see wait and see what's going to happen, bro, if he goes to the Super Bowl against the Rams.
Yeah,
even
but
if he
Esther, that you can't really blame the Dolphins organization because it's been reported that we did everything we could to get Joe Burrow, except actually tank the right way.
Right, yeah, tanking the right way would have been the best way to do
It's
it.
not
Like
even about. It's
Cincinnati
not even
did.
about Joe Burrow.
Cincinnati
It's not just about
effectively
Joe
to
Burrow.
get him.
Estefan's point, and I'm going to piggyback off of it, is when the fans are starting to make better decisions than management, there is a problem.
Yes,
I'm
I
sorry.
agree.
But bro, we've been making better decisions than the organization for years.
Exactly. So maybe it's
No,
time
Steven.
for Ross to move on and go practice his golf swing somewhere else. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I
just
don't think he golfs. He's a
Ross.
But
I think,
Steven,
is the
hey
epitome of the
Steven, you
problem.
have
What's
to
up?
acknowledge
What's up,
the
Crypto?
Rams. But Steven, you have to acknowledge that the Rams did it throughout their free agency. They risked giving up draft picks. Just last January, they traded for Stafford. You know, he was one of the pieces. They wasn't technically a quarterback away. They just added pieces throughout the year. They didn't let that statement, "I'm not a quarterback away," hinder them from getting Matthew Stafford. They went
Peace,
out
guys,
there and
I'm out.
rolled the dice, and they still added
All right,
pieces
John.
later. All right, John. Can you hear me, Steven?
Yeah.
I
okay.
think they were. I think they were.
They added
quarterback away.
pieces, so yeah, you can't. They wasn't saying they weren't saying that they were one quarter. No, because they added a wide receiver, they added
Well-
Von Miller, they added pieces throughout the
Well, they're not
years.
going to go out and say that because they
that
had to trade away
added.
Jared Goff as well. But they knew that
But
Jared
no,
Goff.
they're not going to say it.
Yeah, they knew Jared
They're not
Goff
gonna
was not
say
the
it.
guy. They knew Jared Goff was
Well,
not the guy, and they knew they needed.
no,
somebody.
they knew Jared Goff was not the guy to probably win. But it's not like Jared Goff didn't get him to the Super Bowl. He was in the Super Bowl just 2 years prior.
All right,
So
all right,
it-
guys. All right, guys. Let's do final thoughts of the day because I got stuff to do. I got to get out of here. It's almost noon. Do final thoughts of the day. Crypto, go ahead. Do final thoughts, man.
I say it's 2 ways to skin a cat. You know, if you keep into do what it takes to give him weapons. Like I said, everybody's having the wrong argument. This team is not serious unless they start with DVP. They got to get rid of him first. We got to get more firepower for any quarterback that's going to be behind set. If Donald Duck is my quarterback, I don't want DVP on this team. I don't care who the quarterback is. DVP cannot be a part of this offense going forward. We need firepower. You got people getting 200 yards receiving who people have never even heard of until Sunday. And, you know, they could say, oh, he was up and coming. He was up and coming. BS. Stephon Diggs is what make that receiving core go in Buffalo. He was virtually shut down, and this other guy stepped up and got 4 touchdowns and 200 yards. DVP hasn't sniffed 200 yards probably total this season. So, no, this team has to start first with this wide receiver room, ripping it apart and starting from scratch with Waddle and Hollins. That's it. You got to start from them two and build out. I don't care who the quarterback is, whether it's Watson or Tua. We have to get serious about adding firepower to this team. I don't care who the coach is. The coach can be Donald Duck. I don't care. You got to get serious about competing in the AFC.
Truer words have never been spoken, Crypto. You're the man, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree, Stephen, that we after what we saw from Josh Allen, we're gonna have to play him twice a year. We do have to. There's many things that need to be fixed with this team, and my focus was all on Tua, and that's been my kind of thing for this. Late New Year's resolution is to stop bashing Tua and try to help fix what I can fix, and give ideas that can make the team better. If Tua doesn't pan out, he doesn't pan out. But I'm not going to bash him anymore. I'm done with that. I'm also going to, try to be a little bit more calm on your panel, and hopefully we get a coach that hopefully John comes. Hopefully we get Harbaugh. That's the main thing. I would love to see Harbaugh or Jim Caldwell. That's my thing. And I agree with you 100% as far as the Omar thing goes. It's a coward thing to do. So. I don't know.
Yeah, and let me just state for the record, so it's not twisted, which I'm sure.
No, we're not saying we're not bashing.
I don't want to bash Omar.
No, we're not doing that.
I'm upset a little bit that the report came out. But I understand he has a job to do and he has to do it. But what I will say, I think it's a punk move on the player to hide behind the
It's like your
anonymity.
boss.
Yeah, like
interviews.
it's just.
It's like your boss saying, "Hey,
it's a punk move. It's a punk move, and I don't like
It's like your boss saying, "Hey, somebody said that you aren't doing this or you aren't doing that. You're not doing your job to your ability." Da da da. And you're like, "Well, who said it?" "Oh, I can't tell you."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, you know what I mean? You really can't defend yourself. So that's why it's a punk move. So yeah, I'm not bashing Omar either. I'm just saying that whoever said it, yeah, he's a coward.
All right, man, get out of here. Have a good day,
man.
Epps.
I love you, bro, and I've been loving what you're doing with the show. And you have a blessed day, my friend. And hopefully next time we're talking about a coach, man.
No doubt, man. Be good. All right, hey, look, this is Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers. I'm your host, Stephen D. I want to remind you all tonight, the Fins Tailgate Show at 10 p.m. Please make sure you all are there hanging out with them. It's going to be a great show. Today is the anniversary of one of the greatest to ever do it, untimely death, Kobe Bryant. And I wanted to throw it out there because, you know, I was never truly a Lakers fan. The only reason I root for I root for LeBron. Everybody knows that. But I always had respect for Kobe. And I always and what's funny is off the court, I always when Kobe retired, I saw what he was doing with his daughters, and it just made my heart full because I have a daughter. And I loved what Kobe was doing off of the court in retirement. He was doing so many amazing things. And Gigi, you know, she didn't even get a chance to. It's such a sad situation, and I don't want to forget Kobe Bryant at all. So what I would like to do right now is I want to play a song. I try to end on a song every day. Let me just say, hey, if you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. If you want to donate to the channel, donate to the channel. I say if you want to donate, do $8 and $24 donations in response to Kobe. But if you're able to donate to the channel, help the channel grow. But I just want to say that I really appreciate y'all's support and this channel, and it's growing, ever growing an evolution of this channel. It's great. And y'all are the best fans in the world. And tomorrow we're going to be on again, like we do each and every morning. It's going to be a great show. Make sure tonight you guys check out the Fins Tailgate. It's going to be a great show. I love y'all. But this song is dedicated to Kobe. It's the Honorable Solo D. It's one of my favorite songs that he's ever done. So enjoy it. Donate to the channel. Help the channel grow. And I will see y'all tomorrow right here on the #1 Miami Fans Podcast Network, Miami Sports Music, Clock Blockers, home of the #1 Miami Fan Morning Show. Let's go.
You know, the Mamba mentality simply means trying to be the best version of yourself. That's what the mentality means. It means every day you're trying to become better.
Put work in my strategy, develop a masterpiece. I struggle with no fear, that's in my anatomy. Go hard or stay home, I'm not what a mattress be. Pursuing the actively, can't nothing catch me. Call it that Mamba mentality. Mamba mentality, Mamba mentality. Mamba mentality, Mamba mentality. Mamba mentality, Mamba mentality. Pursuing the actively, can't nothing catch me. Call it that Mamba mentality. Through the storm, out through the pain. Go harder than a moving train. Every now and then take a loss. Double back like a boomerang. In the field, I gotta move the chains. On the court before I shoot an aim. Exceeding these expectations. Day-to-day preparation. Opposite of hesitation. Show up till they close up. I go overtime for that payment. But them dollar signs can't tame me. See my passion drive me like an Aston Martin. I can't ask for no favors. If they don't give it, we take it. My stay solid, can't break it. Moving the lane like Kobe. Do not complain like Kobe. Work hard like Kobe. Earn scars like Kobe. Come to the feast, I fill up my plate. You wait on your food, I cannot relate. No 24/7, go 24/8. No 24/7, go 24/8. Like, put work in my strategy. develop a masterpiece. I strike with no fear, that's in my anatomy. Go hard to stay home, I'm not what a mattress be. Pursuing it actively, can't nothing catch me. Call it that Mamba mentality. Mamba mentality, call it. Mamba mentality. Mamba mentality, call it. Mamba mentality. Mamba mentality, call it. Mamba mentality. Pursuing it actively, can't nothing catch me. Call it that Mamba mentality.